TV series to go along with that ride? I mean, come
Oh,
on.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Every
I'm all
time
for
I
it.
go to Texas, I go to that little whorehouse in Texas for those rides. So I would expect the
Oh,
same
here
thing
we
for
go.
there.
Is my mic sound like loud enough? It's pretty good.
Yeah, you sound good.
You're good.
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah.
All right, we're live on Facebook. YouTube should be popping up any second now. So if we want to start getting that shared out.
All right.
I tried to tag Joe in the promo this afternoon, but I believe that he doesn't probably have tagging enabled or anything like that.
He's a internet sleuth.
He's hiding.
Can't track him down.
I keep getting these stupid notifications.
Yeah, I get used to it.
It's part of it.
Something went wrong. We're working on it. Come on, Facebook. Don't die on me here.
Wake up, Facebook.
No, I went to share to my page, my profile, and it was like something went wrong.
Yeah.
At least it's not a fatal error 401 or something.
Hey, as long as we're live, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
1202. What's a 12? You guys know what 1202 is, right?
1202 what?
Okay, I'll give you. It had to do with the lunar program. 1202.
Is that the one that took down the Challenger?
No. It was during the original moon landing. The computer kept getting overloaded. Yeah, with the 1202 alarm. And everyone's like, what is that? no one knew what it was. Then some 19-year-old in the back goes, oh, yeah, that's a overload alarm. It's okay. And they landed on the moon thanks to that guy.
With a calculator as powerful, or a computer as powerful as a calculator.
Yep. Actually, I think they're more powerful with the slide rules they had.
Yeah, the abacus.
Yes, the abacus.
So, Glenn, are you sharing this over to the groups?
I am. You're not on YouTube yet, right?
I'm not. Yes, I am.
Nope.
Yes, I am.
I don't see you. I'm looking.
I'm talking to people right here. Look at all the people there.
Look at all the people.
I see angels in there.
No, I got maybe I've been deleted. I got nothing. Just saying.
Hey, YouTube, are you guys live?
Or Memorex.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube. I can see it.
Analog X64 says.
So this is just a green screen. There's no actual games behind me. This is all superimposed.
Special effects.
That's the way to do it. Special effects. Smoke and mirrors.
Nothing, honey.
All right. We'll get started here, guys, in just a few minutes. We're just getting everything dialed in here.
Situated.
You getting some feedback in my room here a little bit, or no?
Just a little bit. Nick Chrisman.
Let me turn that back.
Joe, Nick Chrisman says that we have Eminem on the show tonight. I guess he's calling you Eminem. So.
One photo. It was like, I don't know, a week ago or so. It really did look like me, actually. And I usually don't think that people look like me or not, but that time it really did.
You saw it. Was it the one where he was in front of the arcades? Yeah. That'll do it.
I just got to do one thing on the lower third. I got to get a space in between that.
I wish I could talk that fast.
No kidding. It's really impressive. I don't even know how you develop that.
Super talented.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Got Evan Oakes in the Facebook chat says his Tron panel shipped today from Joe. So somebody's excited.
Yeah, man. I wiped everything down with alcohol first.
Yeah. I still, if it wasn't for that virus, I'd have mine in already too.
Ah, yeah.
I got it right there.
There you go. You could install it during this video. I'll help you out. Do we have any you need the vacuum that you go to the bank? I'll send you over a X-Acto blade and a square.
There you go. The pneumatic tube.
Okay, wait. The new Star Wars. Hold on. Let's go like this. Let's go just like this. Oh, and I'll pull it out just like that because it's baloney. Force doesn't work that way.
This is a virus-free broadcast, and it's a virus-free zone tonight. We're not going to talk about
this is the
virus.
safest place you could be.
Yeah. Yep. No virus talk tonight. We're going to geek out and nerd out on games and arcades.
Good. I've been talking about Talk about that stupid virus all week at work.
It's all over the place, man. Come on. All right. I think everything looks good on my side. I think we're just about ready. Somebody did have a question for you, and I'm going to have to go back, Joe, and look during the broadcast about something with the Tron shipping. I forget what he said about the Legends, but I'll have to go back. It was under one of the posters. He said he wasn't going to be able to watch it live, but he had a question. So either Doug, myself, or
one of the things that we'll have to talk about, or we could talk about at this moment, but so there's the two versions, right? There's the Walmart and the Sam's version.
Yeah.
Now, everyone knows that they're different, but I don't know if most people realize just how different the panels really are. So until I actually started to put them over top of each other, I basically had to redesign and recreate all of the artwork, completely all over again, which was definitely not, I wasn't anticipating that, you know what I mean?
Well, we can definitely bring that up during this. That way you can, clarify to everybody. We'll get this thing rolling here in just a second. People are coming in. All right, let's go. We're going to go dark, guys. We'll run the intro, and we'll be right back.
The Retro Buzz starts right after this.
Hey guys, it's Friday, so it's time for another edition of the Retro Buzz. And today we've got a real special guest, but before we get, what are you doing? Are you not paying attention?
Oh, we're live?
Oh, yeah, we're live. I mean, we do the show every week, and every week you're doing something other than doing the show, Glenn. Come on.
A week's gone by already?
Wow. Yes, it has. But you know what? Finally, I'm not alone with you. The last two shows I've been alone with you, and it's just been an utter disaster because you just get so off into another world. We've got back with us Mr. Douglas Smith, fresh from Florida.
Absolutely, or as China. As Glenn insinuated. Saboteur, trying to stop the release of the TurboGrafx 16. I'll let you know how successful that was later on in the show. But yeah, it was a great trip, and I'm glad to be back on the show.
Well, trust me, it's great to have you back. Patton tried to cover for you last week. Travis tried. He tried to keep Glenn under control. Well, you saw how that happened. So
I wasn't carrying the eye candy like Doug can.
So this week we brought somebody else, Glenn, to hopefully try to harness you. We've got Joe Sabo from sabosarcades.com. Welcome, sir.
What's up, guys? Sabo. What is up?
So
how are you?
Doing good. We got a full house here today, so we're here to talk to you about some of the cool stuff that you've been bringing to the arcade platform, arcade industry. So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself to people that may or may not know you?
All right. Well, my original background started in the sign business. I started my own sign company when I was 17, 18 years old, and I'm now 30 plus years into it. And I have always been a passionate video gamer. So obviously it makes sense to slowly tackle into the arcade world. I'd say we're looking at 8 years now, maybe, that I started to really focus on doing the arcades themselves. It started out with just simple restoring of my own and then starting to offer it to people. Originally, we used to do it just through Facebook, where people would order something and then have to talk to them. And then it took a while till, I don't know, a year or so till I actually opened up an actual video, website. And then that changed a lot because it was a lot easier for me not so much having to like look through messaging, and it was a lot easier process of flowing of the orders. And then we just kept trying to build a library larger and larger. And what I try to do is create custom stuff that other people don't have. Now, I obviously do the normal artwork and I'm really known for the full restoration and the larger arcades, not so much the one-ups. I mean, we do them and I really enjoy it, but I'm really known in the industry for more of the higher end clientele of the arcades themselves, the full size. So I like to do the creative design work, honestly, more than anything. Not just recreating, like the normal artwork that is out there. I like to take it a next level,
Very cool. I see you had like some full size arcades, and Glenn somehow he somehow stumbled on you a while ago, right, Glenn?
Yep. Oh yeah, it did. And I have some artwork here that I was hoping to have on by today's show.
Slacker.
It'll be a Tron cabinet behind me, but this thing we don't want to talk about today kind of screwed up this whole week. Virus.
No, you're just slacking.
It was too busy at work.
Slacker.
Yeah, that too. But it was just so busy at work, I didn't get a chance to, and I apologize for that. But you will definitely see how it turns out on an episode. But yeah, Joe does a lot of things as well as restorations, and it's not just these new machines. The arcade one-ups or arcade games or custom ones. If you have like an original machine, he can help get that artwork restored back to its original beauty, which is obviously what you want when you're restoring these machines. And Joe puts in a lot of extra effort to make sure that the artwork is meticulously done correctly, put on there. He's a little bit the opposite of me. He likes things done perfect.
Well, that's good. I mean,
it's a lot of hours. It takes a lot of hours to restore a piece of artwork back to its original. If you go back into the 80s and everything was kind of vector lines, and then there was some halftones, in there. But then you get into the 90s and it was more of like the digital end where things were printed with the moire pattern. So it's like if you looked at a screen, a TV real close up, you would see the actual pattern. Now, the issue with that is, let's say that you scan a piece of side art and there's a scratch through it. It's not that simple to just fill that area in. You got to kind of match that pattern. And that's where it can get really time consuming to try to fix those patterns. And if you scan a piece of artwork with a small normal size scanner, you could have 50 scans on one side, and then you have to go ahead and put them all back together and mend that back in. A lot of times you'll get color shifting per scan. So to blend them all together, to hem them together, and then fix any imperfections, because no matter what the side art, even if it's a brand new piece of NOS, which is new old stock artwork, if you take that and scan it, you're still going to have scratches, imperfections, dust, things like that you don't really notice when you look at it, but when you scan it, it shows everything. So you have to go in and fix that. And then just because you scan something, it doesn't mean that your printer and the product that you're printing on and the type of printer you have, that you're going to get the output at what you see. Like I could have a piece of artwork here, but then when I actually output it, it doesn't mean I'm going to get exactly the same thing on this side. So that's a whole nother battle trying to get those colors. So unless I have a real original piece to work with, I can't be comfortable with saying it's matching size, colors, everything.
Well, what about trademark, Joe? We have a Gunther in the chat room. He asked, like, how do you deal with trademarks on some of these? I mean, some of these cabinets are 20, 30 years old. I mean, is there a process that you go through with that, or is it kind of like fair use? I mean, what's the process that you go through with that?
The issue is some of the times you can get lucky and you can work with people, and other times it's pretty difficult or sometimes impossible to even get a hold of some of these original people that created the art. So it is kind of up in the air. There's not many people that have true fully licensed, effects on any of it. There's a couple things that we do, like we just worked with Rampage artwork, and I had the original artist. He was working with me and he drew that up. So that is fully licensed and working that way. But there's a lot of stuff that some of the companies don't exist anymore. So you really wouldn't even be able to get the licensing fees,
Yeah,
so that Rampage artwork looks really nice too, man. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that work looks really good.
Yeah, today actually somebody just shared where they took the they took a video or picture of it in their arcade, the full size, the first one that we've seen on the cabinet. It looked really good. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I call that the cool toy look.
Yeah.
So Doug, I don't know if you can. I know you've been over there in YouTube land. I know there's some questions there. Are you able to facilitate some of those? I know I sent you a message about it, but I didn't know if you saw it.
There's a question from Sean Powers in the chat. He says, Joe, will you have speaker panel graphics also available on your Tron kit? He said he couldn't find it on the site.
Well, it actually, I probably should have made that as a separate item, but if you buy the sides and front, it's going to come with it.
Oh, that's very cool.
So yeah, it's part of the kit. I need to probably update that if it's showing as a confusing piece, but if you buy the sides and the front, it's the speaker grill is part of it.
So let's throw this out there.
And it needs it. I think it needs it. That speaker area needs something, and it does need it.
It's kind of plain. Like you can see on yours, Glenn, if you move your head a little bit, you can kind of see it's very there you go.
Yeah. And when I created it for the Legends cab specifically so that you do not have to take a knife to this thing and trim anything.
Nice.
Which to me was a big thing with, a lot of guys that are getting into the arcades with the Legends and the 1-ups. A lot of guys are younger or they're just getting into it. So they don't really have a lot of the experience with doing all the refinishing and refurbishing. A lot of guys that we ship artwork to for the full size, they're doing full restorations. So they've done a lot of this type of work. So they don't need, they don't really care as much because they're used to it. They've been doing it for a long time. But now we're getting like a different type of market of people where they would, make it as easy as we can for them. So with the Legends exclusively, this is the first time that I tried doing it. It was a lot more work because everything has to be accurately, perfectly accurate. Again, I bought that cabinet just so that I would have access to it. And that's why I actually had to buy a Walmart version, which I'll have.
And that's what he's telling the wife, and he's sticking to it. That's why he bought it. Just to do the artwork.
I have to have it for the business. It's a business deal.
The business expense.
If I play it, don't pay attention to that. I'm just trying to burn some time while I'm making measurements in between. That's all.
That's quality assurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but honestly, if you don't have the machine, how can you feel confident that it's going to fit or it's going to be accurate? It would be basically impossible.
Oh, of course. And I know you want to get into the differences between the Walmart cabinet and what you had to go through with that. But I know there's some questions floating around here about, so there's a lot of guys out there doing, and I'm not asking you to slam on competition or talk on competition, but a lot of people want to know.
And I definitely never do that.
No, and I know you wouldn't do that. And most businesses wouldn't do that, but people want to ask, like, what separates what you do from other people because of pricing? I noticed that your pricing is a little bit different than some of the other guys out there. But I also heard you use a different type of vinyl than what some of those other guys make. You want to elaborate on that so people kind of have an understanding?
I'll elaborate, but I don't want to give away my.
No, don't give away any trade secrets. But just
exactly what I'm using.
Exactly.
Because that would kind of kill my own thing. But what I try to provide is, number one, hopefully people can say that it's true, but my customer service. I mean, I really go over and beyond. If it's not me, my wife, we're constantly monitoring our messaging, and we're trying to keep up to date. And we still can't get everyone all the time because it's virtually impossible. I don't know if people realize just how many messages and comments and questions that we get on a daily basis. Basically, if my eyes are open, I'm working 7 days a week. So I love doing it, but there's just a lot. And a lot of times people don't realize that it's not just their project that we're working on. We have hundreds of people in their same situation that we're trying to get to. And we don't pick things off of a shelf like Walmart or Amazon, where we're just throwing it out. So a lot of times when I put my dates on how long it's going to take, that is truly realistic times because we're printing each thing to order. Now, we don't have a huge inventory of marquees and things. So a lot of times with all these custom stuff, they're one-off time things, so it takes a lot of time, and we have to do it in the order that they came in. So let's just say we have a sale, or there was that special day on when we did it with Legends, right? Yeah, when we were doing that. So we could have a ton of orders that come in. So now we have to take those, and then we have to start bringing them in. Now that's just one sale. That doesn't include all the other work that's already been in there. I'm at a point at this very moment that we're not even, I'm turning down per day custom jobs. People are like, I really want you to design it. I'm like, I can't even do it for like 3 months minimum. And I hate to turn the work down, but I'm not going to just say, yeah, I can do it. And then you're going to sit in a queue for 6 months, because that's basically what it's going to be. I'm doing all the designing and fabricating and production by myself. So I have a couple of people helping me, but they're basically just packing the products. But I'm the one creating it and making it and printing it. I got multiple machines running at once, and that's how I feel that I keep my quality at the highest level, because my hand is on 100% of every piece of job that goes throughout, from the billing to the creating to the post on the website to the designing. Now, the only thing, like I said, I don't do is literally put it in a box. That's it.
Well, real quick here, we did get a super chat from none other than Retro Ralph. I want to read that real quick. Joe killed it with the Legends Ultimate Artwork Kit. Joe brought sexy back to At Games, or something like that. So basically, he brought the Glen to the At Games Legends. Congratulations, Joe.
Oh boy!
But seriously, I do want to say real quick about this. I've obviously, I've done a lot of mods myself, and I've used a lot of different kind of vinyls. And I will say there is something different with Joe's. I never really had a problem with anyone's. I did have to cut the artwork, obviously, to put it on. But his vinyl is different, whereas I didn't get any bubbling in it. And he actually said that you won't find any bubbles. Now, I did other ones. The bubbles you work out, you can get them out. Sometimes you use like a pin to get out. But when I put on Joe's, and I did that on the one I gave away to my neighbor, Mary Parker, the Mario Brothers unit. And Joe, thanks again for doing that. He kind of did that for me as a favor. It was like a last minute thing. He helped me out. And even the bezel putting on there, it went on, and there was no bubble. So I don't know what he's doing in there. But it did go on very well. So there is something different with the vinyl or whatever he's using on there. Maybe it's babies. Maybe it's little babies he puts in the vinyl. But it goes on very, very well, and the quality was definitely there.
That's great to hear, because that is what my Saturday project is for me tomorrow morning and afternoon. Is I've got my kit in this week from Joe for my Legends Ultimate cabinet, and I'll be putting on my graphics and custom artwork that he did for me, and I can't wait to get that all put together and just show you how it installs and how well and easily it goes on, according to Glenn and according to Joe. And I firmly believe that too. It sounds like he's got this dialed in with the no cutting and everything, and I'm very anxious.
Yeah, I do have some videos showing, the application. When this Walmart version comes in, and I was going to do it on this time around, but I just, again, with not having the time, I'm going to take the time this time on the next Legends cab, and I'm going to go through the complete install process, every piece, and just, so for my clients and just for people in the community alone, even if you didn't buy my artwork, I mean, every technique isn't going to be the same, because I spent a lot of time considering what the end user, like how easy to make it for the people. So that's one of the things when you're asking me, why are my prices different? I don't really try to be competitive in pricing. And I'm not, like some people may feel that I'm trying to overcharge, but for what I'm doing and the quality that I feel that I'm producing and the materials that I'm using and the techniques, it's not at all in my eyes, considering what I've done. And it's not something that I've just started. I mean, I've been in business over 30 plus years. If you look at, if I just sold the Legends cab in just vinyl, just straight vinyl, sure, I could do it cheaper. That's not a problem. I used to have guys that would come to me in my sign business. Somebody wants a custom logo and a truck letter. They're like, I want this, 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 and that. I'm like, okay, it costs X amount of dollars. And then let's say the guy doesn't do it. And then 6 months later, you see the truck go down with nothing like what we talked about, simple, straight black letters. And then, of course, it was cheaper because we weren't comparing the same thing. So this This falls into the same thing with the artwork. If I use different materials, if I don't do reverse mounted process, and I don't worry about color matching, and I don't worry about how it's packed up. I mean, you guys can see, if anyone that's on here that's got my artwork, when you open up the packaging, I try to be first class with even the packaging. It starts right there. It's from there and throughout the entire process. You know what I mean? And I take so much pride. And that's why, if you notice, my company name is my name. It's my name on everything that I do. So I put 150% into every product that goes out the door.
So let's talk a little bit about the Walmart cabinet, right? That was something you wanted to touch on earlier. The differences for the vinyl, right? Because it's a difference in the cabinet, and like you said, most people
the
probably
cabinet
aren't aware of it.
The cabinet, to look at it, you would think is the same cabinet. Like, yeah, it looks the same, but honestly, the holes, the sizes are not at all. So I could not just take that same artwork from Sam's and send it to people that have Walmart. It's not going to work, not even close. Especially if you look at the Tron artwork, we're following the shape, contouring the shape literally to the edge. Ralph knows it because he has the Street Fighter. It followed it, and both of you guys, Glenn and Cool Toy, will see how it follows the contour. So if it doesn't follow that exact shape, then it's not going to work. Especially the marquee. The marquee has aligned holes. You hear stories where people are like, I got a marquee and the holes don't line up. That's because the person, whoever they may have got it from, didn't have a cabinet there. So what are they basing their specs off of? Now, I had At Games actually sent me the files, the literal files, the PDF and the DXF files of their cabinet when we started to do this. But even still, if anyone knows and works with laser machines and plotters, you still, for myself, my own sake, to be confident in the fit, I want to have it there. I usually do a cardboard template of the shape, cut it out, literally cut it out, and stick it on there and make sure. And if you notice, half of the photos in some of my website, the products are on an actual product. It's not always just superimposed. So I'm confident when that marquee goes out, it's going to fit because it's already been on that cabinet. It's not like I don't get thousands of, my return or my amount of people that request to or complain is extremely low, really low.
Honey, I got to buy that cabinet. I got to test the artwork out. It's business.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how many one-ups I bought just because of that reason. When Mortal Kombat came out, I went and bought one of them so that when I took my photos and when I did that, it looks the part because it's literally on there. You know what I mean? Now, with the full-size cabinets, it wasn't quite as easy to do because obviously there's thousands of games. I can't sit there and have thousands. I mean, I have a lot of arcades. You can see this is just a few in my collection. I have a ton at my shop. But if somebody would bring me a full-size machine, then we have their original shape at minimum. I need the shape. I need the dimensions. If the original artwork is on there, I'm scanning it. I'm color matching. If you go back when I used to do a lot more videos, you'll see the process of what it takes. And a lot of people don't realize just how many process steps there are to create artwork at a high level. So that's what I try to do. The quality as highest as you can do it.
Now, how does people feel about that? Because now, when At Games first came out, they had the Legends, which this is a Sam's one behind me. I think, Doug, you have a Sam's Club one. Yep. And that's now an endangered species because they're not making that one anymore. Now it's always going to be the Walmart version. So in reality, any more mods we get doing this, we might be in trouble because they ain't going to fit. So
well, I don't know. I think you even told me that the control panel, the holes or screws were slightly thinner or thicker. I don't know yet because I didn't get the new one, but I'll be really curious when I get it to, like I said, if you were to look at it and you look at the photos and you look at a post of one of them, they look identical, but believe me, when you start pulling a tape measure and you're cutting panels that have to line up, it is not the same game.
Well,
it's
completely
I agree.
Maybe
me and Brad Pitt have the same problem. We look alike, but we're just not.
Well, I was going to say, Glenn, maybe me, you, and Doug, we could sell our original Samsung or Sam's Club cabinets to get the new one because now it's a collector's item.
Wait,
Collector's
sell?
item.
It's a collector's item.
Did you say sell? What?
Glenn doesn't sell things.
No.
No, because
What's wrong with you?
Requires
Sell it.
quantity.
Sell it. Especially if it's gonna be rare. Sell it.
How many do you have, Glenn? Do you have 5 of them?
Not yet. I've only got
Doug and I only have 1, so I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have like 2 or 3 at least.
I thought 1 was
Not
sufficient. And Glenn's got,
But if people
2 Star Wars and 3 Trons and
I don't understand. Doesn't everybody? I mean, come on.
Joe's like, no, no,
not
at all.
I'll have 2.
See, there we go.
So he's got 1 up on you because he'll have 2. You only have 1. You better get busy.
You got to get a Walmart.
You got to send $5 to Arcade One Up for that. The 1 Up. You got to.
Oh, but
Just asking. Now I got to say though, Joe, I'm really enjoying the Asteroids Deluxe behind you. That was my game back in the day. I love that machine. That cabinet looks great.
It is, and man, the 3D effect with the mirror, how they did that, and if only on the back, only in the back corner there is a Space Invaders Deluxe original, and when they had that reverse mirroring with that vector monitor, you're never gonna recreate that in emulation. Just not gonna happen. You're just not.
You don't live too far from me, You're already not too far from me. So
right here on my right is a little Blast City. So I don't have it on because it was blurring out the screen, but that's a cool cabinet too. Really cool.
We've got a question in YouTube for Joe from MM. Says, Joe, did you buy Burger Time from Arcade One Up?
I did, and it shows that I'll have it Wednesday.
All right. He's wondering if you'll be offering fitting artwork for that since it's got a unique panel shape.
Well, the sides, I feel that there's no need because they've done it. And again, I'm never trying to. I think I could do a cool topper for it. I want to do something that's someone else hasn't done. I never try. Like, let's say I see somebody that did something cool. Oh, that's neat. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I'm going to do that too. I try to do different things because that's one thing about this industry. There's enough work if you do good work for everyone, right? They don't need to sit there and bash people. And it's very bizarre to me because in the sign business that I've been doing for over 30 years, I used to lean on other competitors and we would help each other out because why would you sit there and bash each other and be enemies with people when you can help each other out? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Couldn't agree more. Preaching to the choir. That's kind of what we were all thinking when we came together and, built the Retro Buzz. It's like, let's put our heads together and, create this community and open up this voice for the community. It's all about helping each other and building each other up, not competing and fighting with each other. That's just petty nonsense.
The cool thing about this business versus the sign business is normally with the sign business, I was dealing with just professional people, and they don't have, they have a passion for their job, but the passion level with collectors and people that want to do. And what really helps me is because I'm as much of a fan of games, video games. Just today, you see what this is? This is.
There we go. Yep. Good choice.
From Limited Run.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just a huge video game guy. So this stuff to me is just crazy. I get to live my dream of working in something that I love to do. So with the knowledge that I've grown to, have.
One guy, I told you in pre-show that there was a guy that I found the comment, and I don't remember his name, but I found it, and it said about putting the artwork on the control panel. With yours, I know there's some competitors out there or others out there that make them that you have to take all the buttons off. He wanted to know with your setup, do you have to do that or?
All right. So here's what I did. And that's another reason why I took a little longer to come out with an art package. I was talking to Bill from At Games for the longest time, right from the beginning, that I'm like, listen, I want you to send me, if you would offer to send me the files. And he sent them to me. And then at first, I was like, I want to get something out there, but I'm like, I'm not comfortable with. So the panels, if you all know, if you have one, is an acrylic overlay, right? With reverse printed product on the top. So to me, I really hated to see sticking vinyl over top of that. And to do vinyl, you absolutely will need to disassemble the entire control panel to make that happen. Could I offer vinyl at a cheaper price as a control panel option? Absolutely. I can do it tomorrow. I can set it up, no problem. But the problem with that is it just doesn't make sense to put something that's lesser over a quality material. So what I wanted to do is, after I disassembled my control panel, took it off the Legends cab, and I looked at it and I looked underneath and I thought of the type of people that are going to be doing this, right? And I'm like, wow, that's a lot going on there. That's a lot of stuff to disassemble. And yes, a lot of people will not have a problem, but there's going to be some people that are like, oh, that's a lot. I don't know if I want to tackle that. And it's going to deter some people from ever doing anything with the cabinet, because they're going to look at it and say, it looks good. It's good enough. I don't think I want to tackle that, because there's not going to be, now again, we could have done a video on showing it, but still, it's going to take some serious time to disassemble an entire control panel on the Legends cab. There's a lot going on there. So I said, what can I do to make it so that you don't have to go through all that? You do still have to do a little bit. You want to obviously take it off, but if you just bought my control panel, let's just say that's all you wanted to do, is put a Tron control panel on your cabinet and that's it. You still got to remove it off of the machine. So you unplug everything, you take it off. You only have to take the 2 joysticks out and the top of the spinner balls, the spinner move, the controls themselves. It's 1 Allen key. You pop them off, and then you're just left with the controls, the stumps themselves. And then you have the 2 joysticks. They do have to come off, because when you're laying that over, the ball is bigger than the diameter of the base. So that has to come off. But that's only 1 little C-clip underneath, and pop it off. And again, when I do this, and I know that Glenn's going to be doing one, and Cool Toy, Doug's going to be doing one, that they'll probably show it as well. But it's very minimal that you have to do now to be able to take that off. So I made that, purposely as an option so that it makes it easier for people. As far as the sides, because it's not real T-molding on these cabinets, it's just a chrome taped product. It looks good, but you can't remove that and put it back, because it's a one-shot deal. If you go removing that chrome T-molding, well, it's not real T-molding, it's just taped on, then it's done. So you'd have to strip it completely, all the old glue off, and then try to do, that's a lot of work. And for what? Why would you want to do that? So if I made the graphics oversized on the side panels, then it's going to be an issue for the person to trim nice and clean right to the edge without scratching the chrome T-molding. I could see people cutting into it and all kind of crazy stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, that's not going to work. What can we do? So I wanted to die cut it perfectly. Now I made it a hair undersized, because you don't want it to go over and be hanging off somewhere in onto the chrome T-molding itself. So it's just slightly undersized. I mean, so minuscule, but it's a perfect contour, all the panel. So you got your lower control panel that's in the front. It includes that piece. We have the speaker grills. Now I did cut the speaker holes out, and when I did it, because I have enough experience, I was able to keep the grills on there and put it on, but it's a little bit tricky. So I would probably recommend to remove the speaker grills themselves, just that, so that you're dealing with a flat surface. You have to think about those things are protruding out. So it's just going to be more challenging for someone. So if you simply just take those off and put it in place, you'll see the outer shape. You just have, put it in place, and then you put them back, you're done. Now I may go, and I'm going to ask Doug and Glenn's opinion after they put the kit on themselves too, is should I have those speaker grills cut out, or should I just leave them solid and let the person trim it? But now I'm claiming that you don't need a knife, but then you would need to trim that out. But if you do it and it's centered correctly, it'll be perfect. You just can put those back on. But one of the things you do have to consider is, one of the biggest simple steps is, you just want to clean all the surfaces that you're doing with alcohol, dust free. You don't want to do this stuff outside, obviously, definitely not in the sun if you had to. lay the machine down. It's going to be a lot easier. You're not dealing with gravity with the thing trying to fall and things falling over. Let gravity work in your advantage. Lay it on its side. Use the clamps. That's another thing that I feel that I do. I've had people that have bought the artwork and they're asking me questions, and I'm right there and I'm answering. I'm helping them, as much as I can. You're not going to get that everywhere. I don't think so. There's places that you could call, and then you're lucky if you hear back from them, God knows when. But I'm like right there as best as I can. I'm not going to say that every person 100% gets everything. I mean, I still have a life too, but I try my best to.
You're not allowed to have a life, Joe.
Yeah.
We had a crop dusting alert just real quick here.
Oh, we said no virus talk.
The king of crop dusting, P-Dubs, wanted to say toilet paper fund for the fellas, just in case they are running low. Stay clean, guys. Have a great show. Well, we'll tell you, there's a lot of men in this house. There's never enough toilet paper. So appreciate that.
So Joe, somebody did ask.
And quick thing too, as well, what he said about before is keeping the stuff clean. He's right. Alcohol, if you have a microfiber cloth or even a good paper towel, just go over it, and that'll take any dust or stuff off of the surface. Just helps when laying it down and make sure it adheres. So that was a very good tip.
So one thing I wanted to ask people too, like you could ask in this chat right now, and let's see, how would people feel if I offered, I mean, obviously you have to pay for it, but if I gave a complete install kit option, like all the tools you needed. Now, granted, you can go get the stuff, but to me, some people might look at it as a convenience that you just click a button and everything you would need to install it, you can buy in one kit.
Almost like they do.
I don't know. Is that something that people would like?
Almost like Window Tint does, right? Where they give you the squeegee and the bottle, solvent and everything. Yeah.
Yep. So you got like the low end, which is probably just the small cheap cutters and a knife and the cutters, and then Joe comes in and installs it for you. Value.
Yeah, we can do in-house installation.
So Joe,
a Joe in a box.
A Joe in a box. Somebody said in the chat room they wanted to know if you were going to get into possibly doing T-molding replacement for the at games if they don't want the chrome, or is that something that's on your plate to do or thought about? Or
well, the problem is back to it's not actually T-molding, so it's just double-sided, kind of adhered to the surface. So now if you go pulling that off, could we offer it?
There.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing there. So it's not like T-molding that you can remove something and put it back into the groove. Even that, if anyone that has done any type of restoration knows, once you start ripping T-molding out of a cabinet, especially when it's MDF, it starts to rip the slot wider, right?
And I pity the fool who takes out my T-molding. I pity that fool.
So even doing the T-molding removal, you don't want to be ripping it out on an angle and like yanking on it. You know what I mean? So you want to slowly go methodically around and baby that edge so that you're not ripping it wide open. Now, cabinets that have
T-molding the T-molding has little grippies in there. And that's what you're talking about. So if you start ripping it, those grippies are going to pull the MDF right out.
Yep. And a lot of panels, let's say there's water damage on a lot of older cabinets on the bottom, let's say 6 inches, all along the bottom, you're going to see the gap has widened to the point where the T-molding doesn't do anything. It's just flip-flopping in there. So there's a couple techniques. One of the techniques we've had, and you got to do it in small increments at a time, is we'll actually use hot glue and squirt it into the slot itself and then baby it and go around that way. Now, another thing some guys were struggling with on the Legends cab, there are some people that had the molding start to release on them in certain areas. So I was talking to Doug about this, and I showed him what I recommend. So it's kind of like a gelatin type of super glue. So it's a little thicker than normal super glue. It's not going to be running all over the place. You know what I mean? So you just put a small area down in the area that you need, put it in place, and then put tape around, so it's over the face of the T-molding and then around the sides, and just leave it there overnight and then slowly take it off. Because if you use hot glue in that situation, it's not going to work because there's no groove for the glue to go into. So now you're going to have lumps all over the place because that the hot glue is very thick. So it's instantly cooling down and you'd have lumps all over that thing. It would not look good at all.
What about this, Joe? Would this work? The Gorilla Glue
No.
It's like a.
So the problem.
You got to add water to that.
That expands 10 times
expands.
the amount that you lay. So that would be an utter disaster.
Well, I'm putting it out there because people, this is what they're going to go grab. They're going to go grab the Gorilla Glue.
So Gorilla Glue now Gorilla Glue is just a brand. They sell lots of different products. So I don't want to show Gorilla Glue as the brand because they will buy exactly what you're saying there.
Right.
But if you go to Amazon and you just search for, I got to look.
Glenny Glue.
Let me see, because there was
special glue.
Well, that's why I'm asking that, because I mean, I obviously don't use the Gorilla Glue on the arcades, but I do use it for like with my cosplay stuff. My Darth Vader boots sometimes has a tendency the sole comes off. This stuff will hold that sole on there and it will not come off. But it's good to know. You mentioned about the hot glue, making it lumpy. These are things that, obviously if they're asking this question, we don't want, use your expertise to tell the folks.
So if you go to Amazon, it's called Gorilla Glue Gel, right? So it looks like super glue, but it's going to have the markings and the labeling of Gorilla because it's a Gorilla brand, but it's a little bit heavier. So when you put it in place, it's going to stay. It's not going to be, because super glue is like water.
This stuff here?
Micro Precision Super Glue Gel. Yeah, that'll work right there.
And it's great in your hair. Keeps your hair from moving.
Yeah, it's a good move.
$6, guys.
Now, if you use too much of that, you'll end up with no hair like I have. But now the super glue or the Gorilla Glue that you held up there, that's great in certain applications, but its purpose is to expand 10 times the amount. So if you put one drop, and it does need moisture to activate it, right? So natural wood has usually a percentage of moisture in it already. So if we're gluing a sign together and we're gluing two pieces of wood together, the natural moisture in the wood itself would start to kick. It's kind of like concrete and water. Like you could put a bag of concrete in the dirt in a hole and not ever add water, and it will harden eventually because of the moisture in the ground itself. So the Gorilla Glue is the same thing. But if you use Gorilla Glue on a non-wood product, then we actually used to mist it with water to activate it.
That's good to know. P-Dub wants to know, are you collecting super chats because he said if it makes the orders move up the list?
Looking for a bribe.
He's looking for a bribe, yeah.
I feel like if I got my orders out faster, the only way for me to do that is the quality is going to go down, and I don't think people want that to happen.
That's reasonable.
It's your reputation on the line. Like you said, it's your name, it's your brand. You're going the extra mile. You're doing things that other companies aren't doing. You've got a passion for it, so you've got a keen eye for the details. And it makes sense that you would want, the better product going out there to your customers with your name on it, and that you're going to spend that extra time to make sure those orders are correct.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unfortunate because we're living in a world now where everything is instant, right? Like you buy from Amazon. I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I buy a product and I expect it tomorrow. What do you mean 2 days? What the heck? That's crazy. Like,
hit that order button and start looking out the window.
What do you mean? What do you mean
virus? I went it the same day.
There's been a couple times it's the same day. I ordered something and I guess it was a close thing, and I got it that night. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Did you see the drone drop it off?
I did not.
I've seen it come down a couple.
I haven't seen Blue in a while.
I've seen it come down a couple times and drops it off and goes on its way.
And it's crazy.
That's crazy.
I've thought about like trying to get someone else to like another, I wouldn't say a competitor, but like another company out there to like start to help me to speed it up. But then I feel like I've lost touch of why I'm doing this. I don't want to just be a store that I'm producing mass, because honestly, if money was all I worried about, I wouldn't even be doing what I do, because I'm never going to get rich doing this. I get rich in the feeling of that it gives me of producing and creating these things. And if my mind isn't clear, then I can't get creative. So I need to keep that so that I stay creative.
Now, do you still do like sign work and everything, or is it just strictly
so that's
arcades?
Another thing. No, I still, like this week alone, I could have maybe done 4 or 5 trucks. So another thing it's hard for people to understand is that truly still is the bread and butter of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a company, let's say a company just buys a brand new truck and they can't put it on the road or they can't start to do business until their truck is lettered, right? And they usually are bringing the truck to me from the day it's either painted, if they repainted an older truck, or it's a brand new truck. They're not even legally allowed to be on the road with commercial tag without license, with lettering. They can't. Right. So there's times where even my clients there, they're like, oh, well, can I get my truck done? I'm like, well, dude, between the sign work and the arcade work, and it's just, I try to balance it out as best I can. All I could do is ask for people to be patient, and you will be happy when you get the product. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Do you do things also like car wraps? I know that's a big
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Vehicle wraps. I started out when I first started in the sign business, everything was done by hand. So I was hand lettering trucks. I was pinstriping motorcycles. I did custom Harleys for many, many years. I was airbrushing T-shirts. I mean, you name it. We've done huge museum work where we were doing carvings, hand carving, sculpting. It's just everything across the board. So it was really nice to bring all those skills that I've learned through the years and bring them into the arcade industry. It's pretty cool.
We have a guy that's real local that he does some vinyl work for me for my truck and that's what he always says too. Because I asked him before, locally, I asked him, I said, do you do any of the arcade refurbished? Because we used to have a Tilt that before they just went out of business, and he goes, I don't have time, man. He said, with all the signs and stuff. That's why I was curious if you still did sign work and
I would say
trucks,
right
that's
now
tough.
on purpose, my business has shifted more arcades. And that's the beauty about having your own business, that I can shift it to whatever I want. If I want to just do hats tomorrow, I can turn it into hats. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. I could do picnic tables next week. So it's cool that I just steer my business in the direction that I want it to. But I have a family and I have a lot of overhead. That's another thing. I have a huge shop that has a big overhead that I got to keep running. So you got to be able to pay the bills, or nobody's going to get anything.
Yep.
Come on, we need some super chats. Got to pay the bills. Get those super chats coming.
Yeah, so with that being said, with T-shirts and stuff, I know a lot of you guys have asked about the Retro Buzz shirts, and I was working with Glenn and Doug the other day about getting a design together. So I reordered after the design because Glenn had to have his just a certain way. Doug's probably the easiest to work with it.
On the right, on top.
On the right,
larger.
See, when I ask for help, Doug's usually good with, he'll say, I think you should better on the bottom or on top. Not Glenn. Glenn's just like, as long as mine is big, it's in the middle or in the left, that's all that matters. But hopefully next week, depending on how shipping is with everything going on, I'll have one that I can show everybody. And if you're game with it, I'm in the process of setting up the shop where you guys can order direct. It's not going to go through us or anything. We're trying to keep it. I talked to the guys. We're trying to keep it to where we're selling it at cost, meaning we're not going to make anything on it. We want to do it for you guys, the community. I also got approval, I shared with them. I have an outdoor brand that makes these. They're almost like Yeti mugs, right? The Yeti tumblers with my outdoor brand. And they came up. We're getting Retro Buzz ones made as well that you guys will be able to order from the store there. I worked out a partnership with the company because I do a lot of my outdoor stuff with it. They make coolers that are branded with my outdoor brand. So look for that, guys, coming. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about that. I just got 2 messages saying, hey, what about the shirts? You haven't said. So I want to put that out there. We're going to have that kind of stuff, coffee mugs. I know Angel did a really cool coffee mug for us that Glenn is going to show here. But obviously he did them as like one-offs. I know. Yeah, there we go. We all got them here. So cool. Kudos to Angel for that. We appreciate it, but we wanted to make something that everybody could, support the show in the sense of just advertising stuff for the show, and we appreciate it. So we're going to try to keep everything at cost level so you guys aren't paying a fortune for all this stuff.
Yep. Right. And you know what? The pictures are much better. I don't look like I was beat in the face.
Yes, that was the other thing we had to work on. Yeah, we fixed that all up with the 8. We went 16-bit instead of 8 because Glenn don't look good in 8-bit.
No, it's surprising. It's surprising, but yes.
No, it was fun. But listen, I get it. I know
It was
you guys.
halfway. I was like TurboGrafx. I was 8-bit CPU, but 16-bit graphics. So I was at the beach. Till Doug snuffed it out. But
yeah. So we got that all ironed out. So we're gonna see how it looks. We'll have updates for you. But if you're just joining us, we're talking with Joe Sabo from Sabo Arcades. We encourage you guys to go check it out. Part of this show is not just bringing on people to talk about arcades, but we want to highlight a lot of the businesses that work with the arcades, so you guys know what your options are when it comes to whether you're getting graphics made, or maybe you're doing a brand like we are and you need Joe to make you a sign if he's got time. Get a sign for your arcade room or something. Maybe you need a really cool backdrop.
I've done some cool things for people's rooms. I even have one in my game room. Can't see it right now, but it's definitely a cool thing that we'd like to do as well. Like the fat head graphics, I've done them too for people.
Do you do any of the stand-ups?
Oh, we need a fat head of us. We got to have that of us.
You already have a fat head.
Yeah, I know. How big of a wall? How big of a wall do you need to be able to fit Glenn's ego?
Oh my goodness! If I did that, if I had like
China.
If I had us as fathead, if I had you guys on the wall of fatheads, my wife would come down here and go, "Is there something wrong with you?"
She'd be like, yeah, you're awesome.
Do you ever do any of the
speaking of fathead?
I was gonna say, do you do those big cardboard cutouts too?
I can.
Oh, there you go.
But what's cool is I was thinking of actually offering us an art set that is like the fat head that can be removed.
Oh, nice.
But the problem is there's some issues with material. I've already researched it. So one product isn't very opaque. So let's say you have an old Asteroids cabinet. This vinyl is kind of transparent in a sense, like you need a solid base. So if you were to stick this graphic on a white and a black square, where it's black, it's going to look different than where it's white. So that's not going to work well on running over old artwork. You'd almost have to have a white base and then put it on. So now it's kind of defeating. I mean, you have to like wrap the surface in one solid color, and then you can keep removing it. You know what I mean? But the issue with that is,
you're talking about that with the arcade machines. So do you have the stencils for a lot of those classic machines, like a Pac-Man, Zaxxon? So you would have those things, and you can have them cut to those specifications.
Oh, you're talking about the actual cabinet shape?
Yeah, right, exactly. Or you still have to cut
a lot of the stuff I do have. Yeah, I don't say I have everything, but I have a lot of things. Yes.
And and you don't have to answer this, but somebody in the chat room wants to know what design program that you use for doing your graphics.
I have a couple different things. So in the sign business itself, we use a program called Flexi, and Flexi will operate some of my printers and some of my plotters. When I say plotters, things are die cut, right? Then I use Photoshop a lot of Photoshop. I've never really used Illustrator, and a lot of people will be amazed at why I don't. It's just because I've had these other softwares that I've always come accustomed to because they operate a lot of my hardware. So it made more sense for me to run a software that can then operate the hardware that it's designing to print from. So you have to have a RIP software, which is only taking the information that you've created either in Photoshop or in another program, and it converts it into a file that the printer itself can understand. It breaks it down, the resolution, the materials. You don't really design in that software, but there's different products for that. Different printers have their own RIP software. Some you can buy different kind of companies. So, but as far as the main designing, if I'm doing any kind of like graphic repair that's not vectorized, it's going to be in Photoshop. We have some different filters and add-ons that we use. Well, when I keep saying we, it's me. I'm doing it all. There is no we.
Yeah.
There's no there's me and myself and I. I mean, yeah, three.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really where a lot of the creating and designing comes in. But it's vector, or if it's stuff like that, then it would be in my Flexi sign software. I used to use Corel Draw too, but I've kind of faded that out because see the difference, Corel and stuff, you can buy these types of programs over the counter, But if you get these sign softwares and things that are running the equipment, they're like $4 or $5 grand for the software. And that's another thing that people just don't understand, the amount of investment it takes to have the equipment and the cost and the materials. When you buy vinyl, you don't buy a little roll. It's like a 50-yard roll. It could be $400 or $500 per roll. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can get a lot of material out of that, but you have to pop out $500 just for the vinyl, then the laminate, then the inks. The inks are, could be $150, $200 per ink. And I have 8, 12 inks in a machine. It's crazy.
People need to understand that, because there's the vinyl and then there's the laminate topping. So just 2 stages you got to put on there. You have to put them together properly so you don't get any artifacts.
You got to have a laminator. I have 2 laminators. I have one that's a heat assist, and I have another one that's
a laminator.
I work in video, so trust me when I know what you're saying with software, hardware. It's expensive. The machine,
a lot of people to do it right.
The machine that we're using to switch the show
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah,
and he's just working with an Epson inkjet printer and just pumping the stuff through and then upcharging everybody.
You could sit there just like with video. You could sit there with OBS that's free and do it, or you could sit there with what I'm using, a $40,000 machine, to make it look like TV and be able to go on TV. I mean, there's and have a professional call-in system. So,
but that's the thing. Like I've wanted people that want the quality and care. If all you care about, and I'll be the first to say it, if all you're worrying about is the price, that's your number one concern, I'm not your guy.
Yep.
I'm just not. Yep. And I don't care to say that. I'm not ashamed to say that. And I can live with myself and sleep at night knowing that, because it is a fact of life. But if you want the highest, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at what I do. I feel that I'm pretty comparable with competitors, but I know that I give the best possible option and quality that I can provide. And I sleep at night at a reasonable price for what I give you. And that's the bottom line.
Wow. How do you follow that up?
Good thing. I say only one thing.
Good thing we're at the end of the show.
Because I was reaching out to Joe. It was his wife who responded. She's working too. She's putting a lot of help into the company as well.
Yeah, she has a full-time job, a very good job. But if she's off even for a half a day, the first thing she does is come to my shop and she helps me. She does invoices. She'll get back to people. Now, normally if somebody gets a message, and a lot of you guys that are watching will know that, she'll post on here, Joe's wife or Krista, she'll say it on there so that people know. And I did that because
everybody's there's the CEO of the company speaking.
You can't even have help with that, because if somebody asks you a question directly and then you let someone else answer for you, they're going to answer for you how they want to answer, not how you want to answer. So I can't even let that go. Like, I have to be the one answering questions. So I do have a control problem with, that's why I could never probably grow to be this huge factory of doing it. But I don't think I even want to go there. I like to be smaller knit and keep the quality level high and just do what I do. And hopefully people can be patient and reap the rewards once they get the product. Because like I said, I don't have a lot of people complaining about the product. They might complain about the cost or how long it takes, but that's part of the deal. It's all together. You know what I mean? It's just what it is.
Well, you know what, Joe, we really appreciate you coming on here. We're going to wrap up the actual show and recording and go into post-show. Tell everybody where they can find you and where they can get access to your awesome graphics.
Well, I have the website, sabosarcades.com. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel that's not very active lately, and I wish it could be, but I just haven't had the time. You all know that are in the video deal how much it takes to do video editing. That's a whole nother conversation in itself. To just do live videos obviously doesn't take as much, but if you start to going into special effects and trying to create cool content and adding things, you could spend 4 hours on a 20-minute video easy. And I just don't have the time to do it.
Well,
I would say 4 hours. That's pretty good, actually.
Yep.
But yeah, check out my website, Instagram, Twitter. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, so is this guy here. He's all over the place all the time.
He's stealing my thunder with that one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just give him the cliff notes today, Glenn.
Listen, Joe's a good guy, but if you want to find me, Glenn's Retro Show on YouTube, and just Facebook, the At Games page, the Arcade One Up page, the Tiny Arcade page, the Basic Fun page.
You're on the clock. You're on the clock. Jeez. Press the mute button on that guy. No, I'm just kidding. And also, Doug, check him out, youtube.com/cooltoy. And did I just hear a saber go off?
That's right. The Cool Toy strikes back.
There it is.
Oh, look at that.
Here, I'll pull your lower third down.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get it in the shot. The thing's it was awkward to get it on the plane.
You're gonna burn your hand off.
That's straight from Florida.
Yep, straight from Florida. Coronavirus free.
China, Florida.
I think anyway.
China, Florida.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm glad to be back.
Is that your ultimate saber? Is that when you went there? That's what you wanted? That's exactly how you wanted it to be? Good experience?
Great experience, worth the price, high quality. I definitely feel like I got my bang for my buck and everything. So I was really happy I took place in that experience.
Well, it's great to have
Chewbacca behind you. Someone's got Chewbacca behind you.
Yeah, Chewbacca?
Yeah, somebody rang the doorbell. That's probably UPS.
Oh, maybe it's the rest of your Star Wars goodies from down there. No. So, but guys, make sure you check in every Friday. Who do we got next week, Glenn? Who's on the show? Who's on the card?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Hold on a second. I got to check the old calendar here. We do want to get these. We do want to get these live at some point.
Yes.
But there's a thing called time. No one seems to have it.
We don't have.
But let's see. Next week is going to be. Oh, you don't remember who's going to be next week?
Wait. Is it the 20th?
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, man.
We've got David McIntosh next week. Apparently, they're going to have a major announcement that they're going to talk on here, so you don't want to miss next week. We are still in the process of trying to get ETA Prime on. He's hit or miss. Both Glenn and I were talking to him this week, and it was kind of hit or miss. This whole virus thing's got everybody
mysterious. He's very mysterious.
Very. But he looks a lot like RGT85. So Glenn and I have this theory that maybe they are one and the same.
You never see them in the same room.
Nope. Never see him in the same room, same time. It could be.
And we've had RGT85 on here, so he's probably like, why do you want me back on? I've already been. So we'll let you conspiracy theorists figure it out. But stick around for post-show. For those of you that are live, we'll let you guys call in. I've already put the links in the chat room. Feel free to call us in if you got questions for Joe. But again, we really appreciate it. Stay tuned. Subscribe to the podcast. We're everywhere now. You could subscribe to audio or video, depending on what you want. Also on our respective channels, you can watch it. Whoever you're subscribed to, go watch it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Share it with everybody. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week for more of the Retro Buzz. Travis.
I did?
I had Travis do his
intro.
His intro. Hang on a second. There we go.
And we'll see you right after this.
Yes. Well, he said you're watching the Retro Buzz. So, all right, guys, I put the link in there to call in. So if you guys want to call in, ask Joe any questions. Joe, do you got a few minutes to stick around a little bit yet?
Yep.
We usually open it up if you've tuned in before. We open.
When you
it
say
up.
a few minutes, you got to be free.
No. I'm giving a hard stop. I want to be done, but at least 7:30. My wife ordered some pizza that it's going to take a little bit to get here. Yes, I am not afraid.
Sicilian, regular. What kind of pizza are we talking about?
So
I had pizza for dinner already.
So here's the funny part. My in-laws own Pizza Joe's, which is kind of like I call it a fast food pizza joint. I know it's an oxymoron, but hear me out. It's kind of like a Little Caesars, a Pizza Hut.
Oh, I love Little Caesars.
I want real pizza. Like you go to like Chicago or you go to New York,
Well, you
want
you
pizza.
got to be in New York, dude.
So there's a real Italian pizzeria that's right down the road, and so once in a while we'll get it there, and it's like, oh, when the grease drips out of the back of the pizza, you know it's good pizza. Just saying. We call it the heart attack special. So just saying. Yes.
So yeah, I can't wait to unbox this bad boy. I got it here.
What do you have there?
Now, do I have to?
What are we looking at?
Joe, when I take it out of the box, do I have to let it lay flat for any period of time before I start trying to put it on, or it can go right to it?
The sides, I would if you can, and if you roll it out and lay it the opposite direction, so you know what I mean. You don't have to, like again, letting gravity. So have it face down if we rolled it.
The inverse of a square root.
Yeah. But yeah, you can open up the control panel and look at it now while you're.
Well, I was going to do it all in the video. I was going to do all unboxing on the video. That's why I've been dying to look in the box.
Joe, you don't have time for videos. You don't have time for videos. Let Glenn do a video. let him do it.
It's been killing me not to do it. Really, it is. Somebody's going to come do it.
Yeah, people don't understand. I mean, even a short, quick little video takes a while. I mean, it does take a while. And then, Doug, I don't know how he does it. He'll go to E3, and 5 minutes later, the whole video is up online already. I don't know how the heck he does it.
You know what sucks for me is I don't have a computer at home that is good enough to edit. And when I'm already at the shop 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours, I don't want to then sit there another 4 hours. Like I do need to come home at some point. So I don't have the equipment set up or an area to do it correctly. You know what I mean?
We need to call like TLC and have the camera crew come out. Joe Sabo, the American Chopper, and then Joe Sabo over here. Just throw some stuff around. This sucks. Oh, this go good.
It'd be cool though too. Like start out from like doing the arcade hunt, going on the road, finding the machine, bringing it back, figuring out everything that's wrong with it, do the whole entire restoration process.
That'd be sweet.
And then
TLC,
sell the cabinet.
Glenn's Retro Show is here for Joe Sabo. Talk to me and we'll set up a contract. So give me a call.
Yeah, that'd be a sweet show. I really like that. Like American Pickers just for arcades.
Yeah.
Game Hunters. Is there Game Hunters now? I think that there is.
Game Chasers.
So Game Hunters is available. Ha ha! Yeah. There we go.
Oh boy, look out. Glenn's gonna be all over that in just a few minutes.
Oh yeah. The older the machine, the better. I will be all over that.
So Glenn, while we're waiting, I know Angel usually calls in and a few others. What's your rant about this week? Do you have a new rant for us?
Well, no. I mean, Doak was here to defend himself last time when he flew to China and opened up the can of virus and took out Konami, and there was no TurboGrafx 16. That's one, I guess. And the other one, I guess, me and Kathleen Kennedy have an issue now because I caused Tron 3 not to happen. So yeah, that's gonna be another rant.
Can you really rant when it's like your own fault though? Like, I mean,
the beautiful thing about being Italian and German, yes, you can do that. You could do both. But that is disappointing. I mean, I really, when I read that Tron 3 was going to be a thing on Disney Plus, I'm like, oh, then I read down canceled or they changed their mind. I'm like, what? Why does something that has a good fan base not get a series? I don't get it. Well, you have a beautiful ride they're working on. I don't get it.
Yeah. They just got to figure out a way how it makes them more money. Like, how do they sell more, whether it be toys,
Kathleen Kennedy,
blankets, T-shirts, CDs, music, whatever.
Kathleen Kennedy, give me a call. I will take care of business and set it straight. Although, to be honest, Kathleen Kennedy's got nothing to do with Tron. That was all Disney.
Mm-hmm.
But Lucasfilm had nothing to do with Tron. So, I don't know. Give me a call, guys. I'll set you guys straight, man. You're wasting money. It's just wrong. Just wrong.
Rant. That was pitiful.
So
but seriously, it does seem like the virus is kind of calming down in China, and my people in China are seeing factories opening up again. So even though things have been delayed, maybe not horribly, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks.
So is it about a month now? Is that what it's been over there?
I think it's been about 5 or 6 weeks. So
I thought
it's been really quarantined. How long have they been quarantined? Like literally over there? Do you know?
200-300 years.
Couple weeks, but I thought they knew. I thought this was going on since December. I thought
it was December 31st, maybe.
Yeah.
Was it's been going on a while, but it spread, of course, and got more severe. And for a while they were trying to keep it under wraps, or at least that's what's being reported. You kind of have to take what you're told sometimes with a grain of salt, because some things are misconstrued. But
so
the whole thing's a terrible scenario overall.
It is. It's one of those things where when you compare it to other diseases or even the regular flu, it's not as bad. However, if you happen to be the ones who get it, it is bad, because the things that it does to your body is not like a regular flu.
You
just be worse overall.
You just want to get your TurboGrafx 16. That's all. That's what you want.
Well, I'm waiting for one. I would love it. I want a mini. Actually, I want
the mini.
I want the PC Engine mini. I've been trying to get a PC Engine forever, and I'm not spending like $200 for one that looks like someone pooped on it. You see them all the time for like $150, and they're brown. They're gouge. I want one halfway decent, and I'm not going to spend.
UV light killed it. A lot of the Super Nintendos turn brown like that too, and the NES.
What kills me too is, I have been trying to do a video on this for years. I have a Pioneer Laser Active, and it takes these expansion packs, and I have the Genesis pack. I would love to get the PC Engine pack, but they want like $700-800 for it, and I'm like, you know what? I ain't spending that kind of money on something that originally cost maybe $100. I can't do it.
Well, you need to get in the toilet paper business.
Flip the toilet paper. That's possible.
Make some money, and then all of a sudden you've got $700-800 on a weekend.
I saw a claw machine. I saw a claw machine that had toilet paper in it. So you sit there and try to.
And the beauty is, you could take the 2-ply and separate them and just sell a single ply.
And get double.
Make double the money.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand the whole crave on the toilet paper. Like, if you're not eating, you're not going to be needing the toilet paper. You should worry about the food.
Yeah, well, people buying toilet paper like it's the cure.
Well, the thing is, you should buy food. There's plenty of toilet paper growing on trees. Just saying.
Well, here's the other thing. You could hose yourself off like a bidet. Like, really, why wouldn't you spend money on like canned goods and like, if you're that worried?
Water.
Exactly.
But this just shows you what social media does today.
Yep.
People just follow what they see. It's crazy. They're like just like zombies. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they said you got to do that, or I see that happening, so let's just do it.
I think one government official person, maybe somebody new that was out shopping and said, "Oh, you better get some toilet paper. This could get bad, or you better buy some necessities because they're not going to be able to get in there."
I think in Australia or something, they were having like big brawls and fights over toilet paper.
Yeah.
So people may have seen it there and then got nervous, and then it just. I have one of my neighbors here. He's got a 2-car detached garage, and he's got more water and toilet paper for like 10 years. We're like, what do you need that shit for? I just don't even understand.
What's his address?
I'm gonna sneak it every night, take a little bit. You won't even miss it.
We have a well, so I'm like, bottled water. What do I need that for?
Every Tron kit's gonna come with toilet paper.
There you go.
That's the free gift, right?
And a squeegee.
Yeah,
you use the squeegee. Hey, if I sell those kits, you could just use the squeegee.
You're gonna have to put very specific instructions though, because people, as we've discussed, are pretty idiotic. So you're gonna have to put very specific instructions that the squeegee is for the cabinet.
What?
And not.
But if you get the squeegee with the felt end, then it's not very abrasive to you. You know what I mean? You get the nice felt end on it. You can wipe it, crack right up in there.
Oh
man, we turned down quick, boy. All right. So
here's some dedication for you. Check this out. I hope he has audio, unless he has it muted. That's not Patton.
Oh, Pat plays.
That's not Patton.
I know, but you got the name of it. Pat plays.
I know. I got to change it. We can't hear you, Angel.
You can't hear me? I can hear you guys. I'm talking just fine.
I can hear you.
I'm out of the hospital, doing good.
We got a question in the chat for Joe. It says, Joe, can you make a custom Dragon's Lair graphic for the At Games Legends Ultimate Arcade? That's from Christina Clark.
Honestly, I can't touch anything to do with that artwork at all. I'm friends with someone that's in the industry that goes around looking for non-licensed artwork for that, out of respect and knowing that they're active in a community. It's not something that I can even think about touching or that I would. So unfortunately, I cannot.
Yeah. That's good though. I mean, you got morals and principles.
Yeah.
I think with Angel, if you can hear us, I think if you have hands free, that might be why it's not picking up in the system. So you might have to disconnect your phone from the hands free, and then call.
Yeah. Or it's an iPhone. Yeah, or it's an iPhone. Just get an Android. Fix the problem.
Here we go. We on
You're
this
so
kick again.
Over.
He's sitting here.
Have you guys played this Stranger Things game? Have you played it?
I have. Yep.
That's super cool, isn't it?
It's cool. I like the graphics. I like the story. I mean, when it first came out, I was nervous about it because I was like, "Oh wait, this is totally revealing storylines for the season." So I had to like hurry up and binge watch the season, and then I could go back and play it. But I absolutely love it.
There's a lot of references in there.
Now we got audio.
Grab your bag.
And we got a steering wheel.
We got a steering wheel. We got audio. Angel, are you there?
You're gonna scream.
Yo.
What you going to do?
Angel.
Can you hear us?
we can hear him.
Oh, he's giving us the hand. He's giving us the hand.
Don't touch nothing.
Yeah.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah.
We got to do it back. Do it back. It's a hand gesture. You got to do one of those.
He's like, I don't even know what he's doing.
I love his musical instrument back there.
Yeah. Somebody's a musician. Oh
man, those iPhones, they just are not for technology, man.
I don't know what happened. He lost connection.
It looked like he was probably going through the apps and didn't realize.
Either that or he's calling back in. So he's like, all right, here we go. Let's see if we can get him. Let's see if he can actually hear us this time, because we could hear him, but I don't think he realized he was on air. He's going to go back and watch this later and go,
whoops.
Oh, I was on air.
Joe, while we're waiting for him, what's probably the most difficult part of that process? Is it the design work? Is it the layout? Is it the cutting? For you, what is the hardest part of your project?
Well, if it's creating custom, it's coming up with fresh, new ideas, trying to be different, getting the correct balance. One of the mistakes that I feel that a lot of creators do is they go, it's like vehicle wraps. You ever go and see a vehicle wrap that's so busy that you don't even know what it said, right? It looks cool. You'd have to stand there for 20 minutes to even read it or know what's happening. And that happens a lot on some of the artwork. So people just go way overboard with stuff, and some people like it, but if you look at old classics and you look at professional advertising and different things, less is more a lot of times. So you need to learn to cut that back. And that's really a preference thing. There is no real right or wrong way. You just got to go based on how people react to what you do. If a lot of people like what you do, then obviously what you're doing is working. So to me, being creative is one difficult aspect to it. Now, as far as recreating or refurbishing artwork, the most difficult thing on some projects, and again, it depends on the era, the time frame, or what year the artwork was produced. Obviously, something that's, let's say you take Miss Pac-Man side art that's vector based, and then compare that to Ninja Turtles that's all like a photograph kind of, to take those two and say, okay, I want you to create or reproduce this artwork to make it as accurate as possible versus the Turtles. What's going to take longer? What's going to be harder? It's going to be a lot easier to do that vector because the background is solid. Each stroke, the colors, they're just solid colors. So once you create a vector version of that, it's much easier to do. When you deal with the other side of that, resolution is an issue, the quality of the scan, the color, and matching the color. It's a lot easier, again, to match a color on a vector image because it's just Pantones. You can like select a color and select it. But when it's a photograph, it's like you take a picture. There's all these hues and saturations and color and lighting and contrast, and there's so much going on. It's way more advanced to get that to match. So to me, that is the biggest step, is getting the artwork into the computer. If it's something you scanned or you created, getting it ready for the printer, and then learning your equipment to make the colors look what you see on the screen or what you have as the finished product. You know, I could send my finished file to 5 different people and they're going to get 5 different results. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
I couldn't do it. I can't draw. I can't do. I can't do any of that.
Oh, people used to say to me, I can't even draw a straight line. I said, well, that's what rulers are for.
Yeah. So imagine how bad I am when I take a ruler and I still can't make a straight line. So what does that
Just gotta hold it down.
So
hard.
to answer your question, Joe, that's maybe you should keep the graphics cut, because if he can't draw a straight line, he's not going to be able to cut a straight line.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You know what else too? It is like, there shouldn't be a worry on a rush, right? Like when you go to do the artwork or you're putting it on your cabinet, like if you're in a rush, then you probably shouldn't do it that time. You need to better manage your time, and you don't have to do it all in one day. Take a portion of it and say, okay, I'm going to dedicate today on the control panel, or I'm going to do whatever it is you're going to do, and take your time. This is your own thing that you've spent money on the graphics for and the cabinet. Why not take the time and do it correctly? Like you shouldn't worry about speed. You know what I mean? Even though my stuff will go on the quickest.
I like that.
But he is right though. You have to be in the right frame of mind, and you do have to take your time. What takes the most time, whether you're cutting it or not, is just lining it up. Once you have it lined up, you just peel a bit back. You put the first layer down, and then you start peeling it back. It'll go on fine.
But Glenn, do you use?
But the lining up is the main point.
Do you use like gaffer's tape? Like a lot of times when I put the like on my arcade one up, and even when I put graphics on my truck, like I have the windshield banner and then my logo, I measure everything out. But I take gaffer's tape and kind of measure it this way, and I tape it to the sides and fold it, and I apply it half, sometimes even a quarter at a time, and that way you get I know Joe's has no bubbles, but I'm saying like that's kind of that way you can line everything up and just kind of put it on.
Yeah, everything should be taped in place first. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely think Arcade 1 has bubbles coming out. I mean, Arcade 1-Up's got the bubbles coming. However, remember with me, it's the retro show, so I use whatever I have around: Scotch tape, painter's tape.
Well, I mean, as long as you tape it down, it doesn't matter. It on.
Yeah, you have to. You know what? That's something a trick I learned. I never knew about that. I mean, it's an important and a very good trick to know. Before that, it was always you peeled off the thing, you kind of put it down. I never got stickers on right. I always messed it up. But once I learned that trick, just put some tape, put it on, put some tape out like 3/4 down or a quarter down to get it started. I've never had a problem with it going on right. And then just taking your time, going back and forth. I use my hand. I know the proper way is with like a squeegee.
Mr. Miyagi style.
So, yeah, exactly. I would say wax on, but then there's the other part that won't sound good on family-friendly TV.
The issue is you're not really getting the pressure. So a lot of the vinyl, you need to really put that pressure for the adhesion to really bite. Yep. So a lot of times, like when we're doing a vehicle wrap, let's say we wrap a fender, it might look good. If I throw a heat gun to it, you'll all of a sudden see all these crazy bubbles and stuff forming. That air is there that you don't even know. So it's a good idea to try to squeegee it out. But a lot of people get so overwhelmed with like the side of a panel, right? They're like, oh my God, it's 4 or 5 feet tall. How are you ever going to put that on? But if you're lining it up prior to the adhesion being exposed and you're clamping it or taping it in place, you haven't had any risks yet. Everything is lined up prior to any adhesion being exposed. Then now, if you have a 4-foot piece and you work with a quarter or half, you've cut that down to a third or a half of the size. The other side is still clamped or taped, and then you're only dealing with one portion of it at a time. Once the first half is established, then you're done. You're home free, because now you can just work little by little. It's just a misconception sometimes that people get overwhelmed with the process. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the first time. If they've never done it before and it's their very first time, I mean, when I did my first one, I was freaking out. But once I had it on there, I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But they say it's always scary the first time.
Well,
now there's also some vinyls that you would prefer to use as a wet application. My particular material, 100% not that. You do not need and or want to use rapid tack or soap and water. There is absolutely zero advantage to it, and if anything, it's just going to be making a mess. You get particle board and you're putting water all over it. What's that going to do? It's going to expand, and it's just a nightmare. It's unnecessary, and that's why I use the products that I use. So you eliminate that.
But you know where they get that from, Joe, is like when I was in my 20s, I worked for a shop where for cars I tinted windows and applied application. So we put that on soapy water most of the time, but yeah, they have their own solution. But you take that and then you just put it on and you squeegee it and use a heat gun to get it to mold to certain windows with some baby powder.
So when you wet something, you can put the whole thing on once and not line up anything, and you have working time. That's what it's there for, is to work it, figure it out, and then from the centers you work your moisture out.
Then we learned the taping method, where then you don't need to apply liquid, especially if the film was good. You could get it on there, with a heat gun and baby powder, and you can make it look really good. But people with these I've watched a couple of YouTubers, and I shouldn't even call them YouTubers. There's videos where people are like spraying water. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is just like you said, this is wood. Yeah, what are you doing? Like, I get why you're doing it.
I feel like it's part of my job that I really need. I mean, I do have some out there, but it needs to be specific to particular models because certain applications will be different. If I take a full-size Pac-Man or a different machine, it's going to be slightly different application than if we do the Legends. So that's why I want to do one that's that specific. It's not going to matter the art itself as long as it's that cabinet, that type of application. You know what I mean?
But so you know what I think's the hardest is doing the bezel on putting these graphics. And now I've not used yours. I've not used yours, but the guy that made the one that I have now is probably about a 1/16 of an inch to an 1/8 inch too short around. So trying to get that on and get it centered without it creasing and then being So I think the bezel for me was probably the hardest.
A lot of times we'll put transfer paper over the bezel because if any of you put the bezel on, you get where you get stress points in the corners, right? So when you have nothing in the center, it's really difficult for you to, like, you almost have to be able to just lay it relaxed because you have to learn to read the vinyl. The vinyl's speaking to you in a language. It's like if you're wrapping a vehicle, you have to know high spots have to be hit first and different things because the vinyl reacts to, contours. So it's the same with when you're doing a bezel. If the center is cut out and you go, it's so easy to stretch and distort. Once it's distorted, it's done. You're not going to pull that off. And if you pull it off, you're stretching it even more because it's fighting. It's already adhered. So it's just a complete nightmare that you don't want to try to deal with.
I actually had to because that very thing, and I even tried a wet application only because it was the bezel, just trying to get it to position itself because I didn't realize it was cut too short. And I got it on there, and the same thing, like you said, once that adhesion dried and I had it all squeegeed out, no bubbles, and it was still short, I actually had to stretch it to manipulate it, cut it, so I could get it to lay perfectly flat, and I just butted up the sharp edge. I just cut it and put it in a corner where nobody would see it. But
nobody puts baby in the corner.
Oh, it's just awful. Like like he said, when you start stretching it, you're at the point of no return, man. You gotta modify.
The bezel. He's right. The bezel around the monitor is absolutely the hardest part.
Even if you take it off.
Had my share. Yeah, I've had my difficulties with it. I have had to again at times. Not with his actually, but I had to pull him up. I was able to recover it. But it's one of those times like, oh, Jesus, you look at that, and how am I going to fix that? And it's bunched up on a spot, and you got bubbles. It's there for the hardest part, but he's right. The best technique when you're coming down is just try and come down smooth and read how that vinyl's coming down. And it takes time. It takes time and practice.
Now, with the Legends artwork, if you buy, like Doug will find out tomorrow when he's working with his bezel, it's reverse mounted on a new panel. You're not dealing with any of that. So a lot of my arcade full-size stuff, and even the one-ups I do offer, is reverse mounted. You're getting a new acrylic. It's already on it. So you don't have to do any of all this that we're talking about. You literally just either with the one-up, you put the 4 holes, they line up perfectly. You put the screws back in, you're done. Obviously, it's going to cost more, though, because we've already done all the work, plus you're getting a new piece of plexi. That's the thing you have to understand. It's not going to be the same price as just a piece of vinyl that you're sitting there fighting with for 20 minutes versus me already doing it. It's a different process, too, when we print it on the back side. You're printing it on a clear, and then we're already doing the adhesive. We're doing all that work. And plus, when it's on the back, it looks so much more professional than a decal stuck over top of a piece of plexi. You have to know, when your first arcade one-up machines came out, there wasn't vinyl on the face of the plexi. It's printed on the back side of it. So the gloss level is uniquely the same from the monitor to the artwork. You don't see a difference. So that's how, when I do the Tron control panel and bezel and marquee, all of that's already mounted for you. So that's going to reflect the price.
Which is good. Like I said, it reflects in the price, but it also reflects in the installation. I mean,
it reflects the installation on your end for sure, and the quality is way higher. It just is.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, because we're talking about all the little nuances and things that can go wrong in the installation process, especially for newcomers. And the good thing is you've kind of taken that out of the equation and made a superior product that doesn't have to, fight those headaches for the newcomers and the people that are not familiar with these type of install type.
Yeah, that's like, look at the Legends. Look at the size of that bezel. Now, if you had all vinyl in a roll, I can use one tube and put it in, and I'm done. Now, if you have the Legends, we have the topper marquee. That's a size. The bezel is big. Then the CPO, the control panel, is way longer. So now you're going to have all these different boxes and sizes. And guess what? Shipping is not going to be the same for 1 tube versus 3 different boxes. So all these things people have to understand and realize that it's going to change the price in that. You know what I mean?
So P Dubs wants to know in the chat room. Sorry, it switched off the wrong thing here. He wants to know, what's your favorite? Hang on, let me scroll. What is your favorite graphic artwork design on an arcade machine? What is his personal favorite? That's what he asked in the chat room.
A classic machine, like an old classic.
I think he's asking for any. What's your favorite artwork?
Anything. And then
but is it something that I've created, or just that exists?
Do one of both. What's your favorite creation, and what's your most favorite iconic arcade artwork?
There you go.
My favorite creation that I've done that I think overall is super cool and we still sell today is my Cuphead for the original Nintendo cabinet. I absolutely, the Cuphead.
Okay. My family wants to know. He says, ask Joe about the special squeegee with the felt on the end. He recommended it to me. It's cheap and it worked well.
Yeah, so normally if you just take a normal squeegee, it will work. But again, you're dealing with vinyl. So if you have some dirt on it or whatever, there is a risk of you scratching. It's just like, I want you to take your paint on your car and go take a credit card, just a hard credit card, and go start rubbing on that car as hard as you can on a black paint in the sun, and let me know if you see anything happen. And odds are probably you will.
Right? I'm gonna guess that's probably not so good.
You're gonna rip the car. You're gonna rip
your car.
Yep.
So if you take a credit card, you take something and you go rubbing it on graphics, what are you going to do? You're probably going to scratch it. So I recommend using the squeegee. And that's what I'm saying. If I offer these kits, yes, people can go buy them themselves. But then if they're they have that option. But I feel like if I provided a kit that I said, this is what I recommend, and people buy this kit, this is what I wanted to know. If it's something that people have an interest in, should I even bother or just let them figure it out on their own? I don't know. But if they wanted me to, there is the option of there's a lot of different squeegees they have. They have some that have a sleeve that slides over and they last so long. Like in the vehicle wraps, we have different options of different squeegees. So we have some that have like a temporary sleeve that you would slide on. They won't last a couple jobs and then it's done. Then you could even get like the soft side of Velcro and stick it over, like, let's say this is the edge of the squeegee. It goes over this way, over the whole edge. And now you have a soft, smoother surface. So you're not scratching with a credit card or even just a squeegee. I don't ever use just a straight squeegee on the vinyl.
Somebody says here, Joe, I've been trying to get Arcade One Up to do a Spy Hunter cabinet. Is that something you could help customize?
I can, but I'm back to my custom creating orders right now are probably 4 months out. So if speed is of the essence and somebody wants something done, then I'm not going to be able to help you. Would I do one? Can I do one? Absolutely. But I got to look at my backlog of jobs that people have already committed to, custom orders, and they just would have to be patient with me. But yeah, it would be a cool project for sure.
You guys see any other ones in there that I missed? Sorry, I was trying to go back through. Going back through the chat room here. Guys, if you have a question and we missed it, please put it in the chat. Just tag us, tag Doug, myself, or Glenn so we can ask Joe. I don't know. Joe, are you in any of the chat rooms, Facebook or YouTube?
I'm not, actually.
Okay.
I probably should be.
That's cool.
We're caught up.
Oh, we caught up? Yeah. Okay. So we just wanted to make sure. I'm just going back through it. You were doing some great explaining, so I thought, well, I'll go back
so
through.
Do people seem like would they be interested in these kits, the installation kits, or am I just wasting my time?
They absolutely did.
I saw 3 people.
Yeah.
At least.
Facebook had a bunch of people too.
I might have it, as an option in there. And then if they get a full kit, then maybe a discounted price at that. So I'll do some thinking about it, knowing now that people are definitely interested, and see what options I can come up with for you.
I like it. I mean, like, I have my own tools from when I did it, like my squeegees and stuff when I tinted. But I always like it, like when I go buy tint and they come with a squeegee or something, and I'm doing somebody's car or whatnot. So it's always helpful because then they.
But I'm talking like clamps, like everything.
Oh, clamps like and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys?
Shop.
You can buy just individual or like the whole install kit. Like everything you would need to do the perfect way.
Yeah, because there's nothing more frustrating than getting 30, 40 minutes into a job.
You got to have the right
crap, I got to go to the hardware store.
I'm not going to obviously include alcohol. That would be kind of pointless. Or lint free cloths. I mean, I could, because even honestly, that's probably not as simple to find. Like, you're not going to just go in your drawer and grab a lint free cloth. Now, there are, believe it or not, you can buy in the box at Home Depot and Lowe's, you can buy paper towels that pull out that are lint free, and I use them all the time. Another thing that I forgot to mention that I use on all my applications.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, you could use toilet paper, double ply.
Yeah,
I use what's called a tack rag, and we use that in the auto body industry and in the vehicles. So basically, if it's plastic, I have an anti-static gun that I spray on the surface, and it cuts down the charge or the positive. If you rub let's say you get a piece of plexi and you pull the clear protective off, it's like static cling. It's like insanely highly
you
static.
can hear it most of the time.
Yeah. So I have this special gun. It's not cheap, but I use it on a daily basis, and I spray the surface, and it kind of neutralizes the static. So when we do reverse mounted stuff, that's what I do. But then on top of that, then I use what's called a tack rag. So you can buy these. That might be in the kit, because it is a good idea. Because let's say you clean the surface perfect, you use a dust cleared rag, you put it on. Now you lay the vinyl that's just was on your table, and you lay it down. You just now put dust right back on the panel, because the back of the paper just had dust on it. So now I pull the half off. Let's say I'm working on one half. I cut the back off, and then I'll use that tack rag right at the last second, and I will tack that area off at the very last moment to minimize any amount of dust. That's how far I take it.
I think that's a good thing to do because I do that with a tint. You got to do it with cell phones when you put the stupid screen.
Think about tint. You've done tint.
Yeah.
If you don't have a clean substrate, try doing that out in the wind. Good luck.
No, I wouldn't even do it. Well, and also like temperature. That's what I was going to ask you. Like I know, like I won't put tint on if it's super cold because it adheses.
50 to 70 is your best.
That's what I wanted to ask because I think a lot of these guys.
50 to 70 controlled environment. I tell people if they buy the vinyl, it is rolled up.
Yep.
If you have the area and you think ahead of your time, this is why again, don't rush it. Take it out of the box a day or so ahead of time at minimum. If you got more time, great, and let it relax and get back flattened out. Now, obviously, if it's reverse mounted or something, that's kind of, you don't need to worry about that because it's already on the substrate. But the vinyl is rolled up for a couple days at minimum in shipping, and who knows how long you've had it before you actually open the box. Mm-hmm. So now that thing is like wound up like a tight ball. So if you can get it to relax, now it will flatten out once it's on, but it's still, you're fighting this bent up curled thing. So if you can let it relax and flip it the opposite way and put some weight on it a day or so ahead of time, it's just going to make your job just that much easier. Even myself, if I have all this experience, I'm still would rather deal with a flat piece of vinyl than something that's curled up every 2 seconds. Every time you let it go, it's falling back up at you. It's one more element that's creating more of a task for you,
Yeah.
Got a question in the Facebook chat from Alfonso Petty Jr. It says, which kit should I go for the new HA8000 At Games Legend Ultimate Arcade from Sam's Club, shipping March 2020? The Sam's Club or the Walmart version on your website, Joe?
Well, after this week, I will have the Sam's version in my hand. The price is not any different. So it's just a matter, the artwork will pretty much look the same, but like I said, it's just small details on my end that I have to do the adjustments so that they fit properly. But to look at them, they're going to be identical. You know what I mean? Well, I shouldn't say identical, but so close that you wouldn't say, "Ooh, conversation even come through." Or was I talking to myself?
No, conversation. I got
it. I got most of it.
Well, we got. Hang on a second. The stream still shows that I'm streaming, so give me a second here.
Yeah, I still see it.
I don't know if we got.
But essentially, you've got options for both the Sam's Club and the Walmart version. So either way they pick, you.
Yeah. The shape, like the contour of the Tron artwork, it's just got to be redone completely. I was really actually amazed at how much different it was when I started doing it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how different this is. I just assumed it was going to be the same.
So I don't know if you answered this, but since we came back, everything kicked back up. Joseph Shorts wants to know, which one is better to build, Walmart or Sam's? I haven't built the Walmart, but the Sam's one seems.
I haven't built the Walmart, but I can't imagine them being different, honestly. I will know better this week, but to my knowledge, the build, the things are basically the same. I feel that it's just slight different dimensions. And I mean, I don't know, Glenn, have you had your hands on the Walmart version to know if there's, I don't know if anyone has both in their possession to really know, to compare truly, but I will be able to after this week.
The only thing
I know of. Okay, Doug. Good.
I was just gonna say the only physical difference that I know is like there's additional screws and mounting holes on the side. So like the Sam's Club, I think has 4 on each side or 5, something like that, and the Walmart one has more. I've seen pictures of it, and I was just kind of flabbergasted at why there was additional holes.
The control panel layout is different too. If you look at them, there's definitely
that's different. And Doug's right. The mounting locations are definitely a little bit different, and the way that they're mounted, the way the machine goes together is the same, but the technology connecting it is different.
Where's PK?
I'm not aware of that yet.
Where's PK? He's usually lurking and watching the show every week. PK, where are you at? Are you around? Can you answer this? He usually sticks around and watches it.
I think the marquee opening could be slightly different too. I feel like the Walmart version is slightly has
compressed.
A bigger board around it.
Right. With Al Link's display back here, the mounting holes between the two are different. The mounting holes for the Walmart version are not much, but they're a little further in and compressed versus the Sam's version. So they may change.
It's a big difference. Like it might be minuscule to the average consumer, but to the creator of the whatever you're making for it, it could be that marquee anything. I mean, if it doesn't perfectly line up, then it's worthless. So it has to, like a centimeter is a mile. It doesn't make a difference. It is different. It's just the
I told her the same thing. I'm glad you said it. And I'm gonna frame this video and I'm gonna post it everywhere.
So
fact right there.
So Steve in the chat room, he says my friend has it, and it is an inch different in the control panel as far as the depth goes.
Okay.
The Walmart one. Yeah. He's saying. So I think we did hear that, right? It was an inch smaller because Walmart, the packaging, they had to fit on. Yeah, right. So they had to fit.
From this point forward, too, there's not going to be a Sam's version. So
no,
it's going to be once
collectible.
It's just going to be just the Walmart, which is going to make my life a lot easier.
Wait a second. So does that mean
it's going to make their life better too?
Does that
from
mean,
a manufacturing standpoint, they don't have two SKUs out there to make? Yeah. It just makes more sense to consolidate everything into one.
I just thought, does that mean all of us in the Secret Society have the Secret Society arcade?
What are you doing?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Steven. What society?
The society that we don't talk about.
Is there such a thing?
I don't know. Which, let me ask you a question. All right, secret handshake. How the heck are you supposed to ever have a secret handshake? Like, how would that ever work in a feasible world?
Use your elbows.
Use your especially this day and age.
That's right. That's right. You shouldn't be using your hands anyway. It should be your feet. Supposed to hit with your feet.
If it's a secret, like you don't just magically go up to somebody you've never met and like initiate the secret handshake and they magically know what you're doing.
It's the T-shirt, like Doug. Do you have the T-shirt? I have the T-shirt.
That would give it away a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's you just maybe they have a ghost that you put on your arm and they make sure that it goes under the fluorescent light.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I remember from Boy Scouts. We had a secret handshake, and
theoretical.
I was like, "Yeah, this just looks like I'm like awkward at handshakes. Like
Lawrence
no one knows what to do."
Lawrence is probably lurking. He's gonna be like, "Shut up!"
So I thought the handshake. I personally thought the handshake was a 2400 board by 2400 board, one stop bit handshake. That's what I thought it was.
For those of you that have both Sam's and 1-Ups, which is most people that have both, right? Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself now using the Legends cab more than the individual 1-Up cabinets? I think it's cool because the 1-Up has all these different titles and people like to see the artwork. But when it comes to like playing the game, I would think that most people just end up playing the Legends one over that just because of all the games and things that you can play. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
So Glenn. I play both pretty uniquely. I still because the Star Wars Arcade 1-Up, it's got that unique control configuration. Yep. And then I've got my Star Wars Trilogy cabinet that I made myself that has its own unique control configuration. So I stick with those a lot as far as the Arcade 1-Ups go, just because they have that control experience, that gameplay that really can't be replicated. That's
hard. A joystick isn't going to cut it for that.
Correct. But other than that, as far as like the broad spectrum of games, the Legends Ultimate definitely is going to be your one-stop shop for the majority of most people's appetite for games.
Yeah.
So Joe, just so you know,
sorry about that. I was getting multiple alerts from my job.
Oh.
This, how things go.
Joe, I sent you a message on Facebook. You'll have to look at that off air, or you see it and just be like, "Oh, okay." So what do you have to do? Run into your job while Joe's looking at that?
That's not too cryptic.
What? What? I would not. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm in the not. I don't know what that is. I'm in there.
Good.
There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, that's a great not existing cool thing.
We can neither confirm nor deny that.
This is good.
Well, that's how the government is with aliens. There's no aliens around here. No, of course not. There's no aliens around here.
You don't want to tell people there's aliens. I mean, look what they're, look how they're reacting when there's the, coronavirus going around. You want to tell them there's aliens?
In all seriousness,
the coronavirus is from aliens.
I started thinking about that today. I'm like, people are going this extreme over, and I'm not, please don't anybody take it as I'm looking lightly on this virus. But I mean, heaven forbid there's like this massive, like you step outside, you have a 50-50 chance of dropping over dead type virus that comes. And there's
Black Plague.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're doing this for this. Like
social media, man. Brutal.
I just
So who ordered a burger time? Who got a burger time coming? I got one.
Did you really?
Anybody got a Yeah.
So I'm told anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, but
we'll see.
I got a FedEx that says it's Wednesday. So we'll see.
Cool.
I'm running out of room for it. I'm saving room for the pinball. That's what I had the toy shock.
About a year and a half ago, I had a restored original Burger Time.
Did you
My
really?
My wife really liked it. Yeah, I sold it. So that's really the only reason I bought it.
I love Burger Time. I wanted the cabinet, but then I was like, when they put Karate Champ on it and everything like that, and I was like, for $500, I can't justify.
It's so cool, but I can't get out of level 3. It's so freaking hard.
Yeah, man.
I mean, level 3, and that's it. You know what I mean? Them you get the little what is it? The pickles into the deal, and it's over for me.
Yep.
They trap you. You run out of peppers. Used your peppers all up, and then you're done.
And Burger Time already has like a pretty difficult ladder recognition mechanism as far as like when the joystick and everything. Like I've already seen people that have reviewed the cabinet saying, "Oh, the joystick, it's terrible." Like, no, it's not the joystick. That's the way Burger Time is programmed. Like the recognizing your character going up and down the ladder, that is what is programmed very difficultly and very hard inside the code of Burger Time.
It should be 4-way for that game. It's kind of like Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man. Like if you try to play that on an 8-way, you're gonna be missing turns, and it's just not gonna respond the correct way.
It's hard on the legends. It is hard on the legends.
But did you try switching it to
boys?
Did you try switching it to the 4-way and then try it again?
I did, but your joystick still goes to it. Yeah, I know they have that feature in there, but honestly,
like a virtual option.
I had my wife. I had my wife
turns off the signal, but the physical movement's still there. So.
Yeah, I had my wife play Miss Pac-Man, and it was just
is a way to convert the 8-way to a 4-way.
Yeah, if only someone could
come up with top without taking anything apart.
Yeah, without taking anything apart, Glenn.
There just may well be.
You just get a gate that goes over.
I was just thinking that you take the ball off, slide it down,
3D print
straight onto the control panel.
Yep. Something that snaps into the hole, maybe with like a pressure fitting.
Yeah,
absolutely. That would be ideal for that cabinet because, like I said,
I will say the trackball is very responsive. Though I'm very happy with the response of the trackball. Like one of my favorite games is Marble Madness. I love that game. I love the music.
Yeah, that's his favorite.
That's one of my favorites.
I am doing this happy with the menu music.
Yeah,
the menu music just plays so great.
I'm doing an artwork package for Marble Madness for the Legends Cab. Just saying.
See, I didn't think so. I went to Tyler and I said to him originally, this is back in, let's see, he's promised me this since October. I said, nobody's doing a Marble Madness Legends. I want a Marble Madness. So you could put it out be first. He's like, all right, I'll get it to you. What is it, March? Yeah, it's March.
Did he tell you which October you'd get it?
See, you keep telling me that. So, but now Joe's doing Marble Madness, so kind of defeats the purpose. Nothing against that. I just, Joe, am I right though? Nobody's done a Marble Madness cabinet in the industry. I haven't seen it, so that's why I was like, am I the only one that likes Marble Madness? So I was like,
it's something that I've really wanted to do.
Oh, dude,
time definitely
has best game.
But I got some cool ideas to do some really. Again, I'm going to take the design to a different twist. You know,
I want to
even
see
if somebody else comes out with it, I don't care because it's not going to look like it's not going to be the same. And I'm not trying to make it look the same. No matter who does it, it does. You know, I'm just going to do my own version, my own thing, and it'll be super cool. I'll add a topper into it. I got some really cool ideas.
I can't wait to see it because I mean, it doesn't have to be like the stock original because it's a multi-cade. I mean, let's just be honest.
No,
I mean, it's.
I want it to be its own unique. See, that's the other thing that I don't want. Like, if you look at my designs that are custom, I try not to just make it so that somebody's like, oh, he just used that image and put that there, and then he just took this and that goes there. Oh, I can just create that. You're not going to find that. I've had people send me messages about my Cuphead. They're like, where did you find all that? I'm like, I didn't just find that. Like, we created some of this stuff. So, it's cool to know, but then some people just don't really understand what it goes. I'm not just copy pasting. There is some of that going on, but it's way beyond that. I try to do a lot more to it that you can't just tell that, oh, here's an image, here's an image, here's an image, and they're just stuck together. You shouldn't be able to tell what was original, what's not, how it comes together. That's what I try to do. So I want to take the original, but put a twist to it. You know what I mean? You want to modernize it because it is a newer cabinet, do a different theme to it. So it'll be cool when it's done.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't say when it's going to be done, but it'll be cool. It will. It might just be the exclusive Walmart version, though, at this point.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who knows? Yeah.
Is any questions
what
in
else
there,
is
Doug?
everybody excited about coming out?
Yeah, because we'll wrap this up here in like 5 minutes. So if you get your questions in.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to tell. I'm still waiting for some pinball news, but it's been. I mean, you can hear a pin drop in the industry right now. There's nothing coming out. Although, I am waiting for my Dragon's Lair from Replicate New Wave Toys.
Me too. Very excited.
That should be coming shortly.
No, you guys aren't getting it. You'll get it when we get our TurboGrafx 16 minis because they're sitting on. I heard they're sitting on the barge in San Francisco in the ocean with that. So you're not. Doug, didn't you get this at the top of the show? Doug already. Oh my goodness.
No, Doug already cut a hole in the side of that barge. Those TurboGrafx 16s are at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, that barge sank.
See, he missed it.
Glenn, I was trying to give us some hope.
I've had that thing on pre-order for probably almost a year now. So, like, if anybody honestly wants to see it, I'm one of the people definitely the most.
People say that's my alibi, but look, I pre-ordered it.
Is it bad if I don't even remember if I pre-ordered it or not? I mean, how many times?
That's how long it's been available.
I don't even remember.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what.
The doorstep at one point.
I'll tell you what. I got the Sega Saturn last week. I never had it as a kid growing up, and I've been playing that thing. That thing is pretty awesome. Like, again, it falls into the Dreamcast category. Like, why didn't they keep it around a lot longer than what they did? Like, my son was even playing it.
It was very popular in Japan. It was very popular in Japan.
Well, it was poorly handled in America because it was delayed and it was overpriced, and then it was being put out when they were still trying to quasi promote the 32X, and they were still hanging on to the Sega CD, and it was just poorly overall.
The launch. They screwed up the launch. Exactly. They had a launch day for it, and then they said, you know what? PlayStation's coming out. We're gonna launch it early. And all the developers said, we're not ready, and Sega said, well, tough. We're launching it anyway.
Yeah.
So
we got 3 games. Yeah. Yep.
You don't piss off your developers. You just don't do it.
It was just really good.
Yeah. I vividly remember growing up, and I had one of my friends were the first to get a PlayStation. They're just like, why are you still playing that crappy Sega game? I'm like, it's got some amazing games. I just have to drive 3 towns to find them because, they're incredibly hard to find, and they were just poorly, like I said, the developers didn't support it, so the games were questionable. Some were great, some were terrible. There was just a bunch of really bad ports and a bunch of great ports, so it was a hit or miss.
Right. The early games, because the architecture was so thrown together at the last minute, the early games were not that good. But once they got a little more familiar, most AM2, they got familiar with the hardware. I mean, it was a powerful machine, but you definitely needed to know how to work 2 different video processors, 2 different Hitachi chips, 3 different sound chips. There was too much in there.
I want to give Glenn kudos for this because Glenn worked with me on this because there's a way that you can play your backups. Like, one of the things I said to Glenn was, I bought some complete games, but because of how rare it is and how old it is, I'm like, I don't want to play this. And he's like, well, if you get this cart and you put this in there and you do this flip trick where you spin it and it makes it work, you pull it out and put the copy in there. Let me tell you something. I said to Glenn, I said, you didn't, I ordered the cart, and I said, well, I said, you mean I can't just plug it in? He goes, oh, no. Oh, no. You have to program that. I'm like, what? And I said, well, how long did it take you? He says, an hour. I'm like, what? So I took it off.
There goes that instant gratification.
I took off the top of the Saturn. I taped the lid switch shut like they tell you to do, and I did this. It didn't take me an hour. It probably took me about 10 minutes to do it, but only because Glenn told me how to do it. And then I started counting how long it, like I booted up a game and counted how long it took between boot screens. And by dumb luck, it just happened like I hit it spot on because I kept telling Glenn, I'm like, this is not working. I'm taking a picture of it. He's like,
it's a black screen. It's a black screen.
He goes, up, timing's off. He goes, timing's off. And then finally it came up and I was like, it was like the Holy Grail. It just went, oh, you know, and it was like, I took a picture. That
intro sound, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
It was one of those things. It's a 4 megabyte expansion cartridge to save backups, but there was a way to change the firmware that it would remember the boot code. But to do that, you had to boot a real disc, pull it off at the right time, put on the CDR with the code to change that flash card. But once you did that, you're golden. And the beautiful thing is, you have to open the Sega once, but after that, it's a completely unmodded Saturn. You could take that cartridge to any Saturn and it would do the same thing. It would play the backups.
Yeah, but it was worth it. It was worth every penny of that because I bought Gex. I got a complete Gex.
Gex also was 3DO. That's where it came from.
And
but it's
Bugs.
A great game. I love Gex.
I like Bugs.
Yep.
Bugs too. I've been playing that, but I got complete. I found there's an app on my iPhone called Mercury, and they have like some people under there selling. It's kind of like eBay and stuff. Yeah. But I got Gex for $20 complete, and so I'm looking for other ones on
totally
there.
Worth it.
Yeah, even though
I have a Saturn. I have one Saturn that works, and I have another one where the disc just doesn't read. So I don't know if it's the eye. Isn't there like a
could be a spindle
something
replacement lens? Could be the lens is dirty or it's got to be replaced. The lasers goes out of alignment sometimes, but they cracked. I know a couple of years ago they actually cracked the decryption and everything on there. So you'll probably see like the Dreamcast has the micro SD card adapter for it. Take out the laser assembly.
You're doing away with the drive.
Right. So eventually you'll get that. And actually, that's still preferred because rotating media, CDRs, are not going to last as long as cartridge or SD cards. So in time, you're not going to have a choice. Those
they dry rot, right? Like I've seen some of the Saturn games where they actually dry rot, like the disc, you could almost see through them. It's weird.
Right. Well, it happens worse when you make backups. You know, they say CDs will last 100 years. You're lucky if you get 20 years out of them and they just stop working.
Well, that's why
a bunch of games.
No. I was going to say I agree with you. That's why I didn't want to play the original ones. I wanted to play the backup ones. You know, I get it. You know, I'm still going to play ones that I may or may not have ROMs for, but that's not the point. Like I really wanted. Same with my Dreamcast. I've got a dozen original games, and my son's always like, I'm like, no, play the backups. Don't play the original. They're 20 years old.
Absolutely. You know. Yeah, and that's assuming they were kept in good condition because CDs we know how people treated those for years. They were coasters. They were just thrown around. They stacked on top of each other. They were scratched all the time. So assuming you found one that's still in good condition that even reads, that's an achievement in itself. So it's definitely worth it to kind of preserve those and play your backups as much as possible.
I bought a bunch of games that were, discs, and a guy must have bought them from Blockbusters, and they pulled off their Blockbuster decal, and every one of them. Like there is no information in that area.
Because those Blockbuster stickers
were right. They're printed from the top, and you're reading through it, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So when you rip that decal off, there goes the information with it. It's man, I had a whole bundle from this dude, and not one of them worked.
Yeah, that's a misconception. People think that the disc, the reading is on the bottom of it, but it's actually very close to the top, and it's just layers of acrylic covering the data. So,
I have the disc resurfacer, and it successfully has brought back a lot of discs, but not when the information is clearly missing. It's not going to do anything. But I've taken a lot of discs because I used to sell at the flea market and stuff, games, retro games, console, all different things. And I would have to resurface the discs because a lot of them, but man, it's just tough to make a living on that because if you take a disc and it costs you, 10, 15 minutes to straighten out a disc, then the packing, and the game's $5. It's like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. There's no money there.
Nope.
Yeah, it's one of those
and with
things.
the discs, it's harder.
Right.
I've been looking into. Have you guys played or messed with any of the like they make those carts? And I had the website. I don't have it pulled up right now, but they make the actual carts that you can put SD cards in them for like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Yeah,
I'm actually
I have a Genesis.
I'm trying to do
I
that. I want to get original. I told Glenn I want to get an original Genesis because I have the Act Games one where you can put the cartridge in, but it also has the built-in games. But I want an original that I can use that to play like my ROMs. But I'm buying cartridges that are complete for collecting to put on the shelf. And have you used any of them? Are they any good?
The Sega was like, I think I paid $60 for it, and it came with a micro SD card. You put them on there. It's not as good as the original. These are clones.
Sure.
Right. I got a Japanese version or Chinese version of it.
100,000 times. 100,000 times. That's it. So if we want to get that $50 for 100,000 rights, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the menu system, I just don't like because it's like looking at DOS lettering. It's just
it just goes on and on and on.
It's just like overwhelming. It's not appealing. Like if you look at Hyperspin or Coin Ops, you're like all this beautiful front end. It's just appealing. You don't even have to play it.
It's not the Joe Sabo flashcards.
There's no quality. There's no quality there.
No, it just looks like an Excel file with like a cheap background. Essentially,
they used a credit card to put it on.
Well, to be fair,
but it does work. It does work, and I'm more impressed that they came out with the Nintendo 64 one.
Yes,
because those are a lot more complicated, and it has the lockout, the CIC chip, in there as well. So and that's also like $80. That's worth it.
To be fair,
I love it.
They're not $80. They're like $120, $140 on this site, and it's.
I don't know where you're looking.
It's
EverDrive. You talking about
EverDrive? Yep.
Well, the EverDrives. Well, those are the original. Those are the quality original ones. These other ones I'm talking about are
I'm like Joe, man. I'm looking for quality, not quantity. Come on now.
Well, if you want the high end version, the EverDrives are the ones you're gonna want.
I just don't want it to.
That's by Kritz.
I don't want it to die.
Kritz, right?
Yeah, I don't want it to die.
I think the guy's name is Kritz.
So,
he's good stuff.
If I just thought about it because I thought, you know what, with the kids playing the systems, I'd rather keep the games as close, like especially if I get a complete game or if it's still in the wrapper, because I've seen some people selling them some like games still in the wrapper at really good prices, like $15-$20, for like Mario and different ones like that are like a steal for Nintendo 64. So I thought about getting them, but then I was like, okay, I'll leave that in there and just get an SD card, fill it, throw it in there, and to play the games. Yeah, they're emulated, but you know what? So is everything else.
So, any of you guys collecting actual like full size arcades? You got any?
I don't.
I have a Zaxxon, which I've had since I want to say '89, and it still works. I mean, the screen's got burnt in, the cabinet's in poor shape, and it's got my Tron stick in it now because I never had the original. But no, it's just, as Joe, as you know, because you have a few behind you, they're heavy and they require a lot of maintenance. That's why these arcade one-ups at games is
I just picked up a Madden last weekend. It's super cool cabinet, like the full size. They only made it for 2 years. Madden 2005 4-player arcade. I mean, it is awesome. It's a beast. To get it out of the buddy's basement that I bought it from, I had to pull the monitor and then take the control panel off just to get it up his Bilko steps, which was a 3-man job.
Oh my.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
And that's with the monitor out. That's with the monitor out. It's still.
And when you say 3 men, you're talking you, Cool Toy, and Steve. Not 3 men here. More like 12 of these men.
But it's cool to have the one-ups, but man, there's something about an original, like you see there. That's a strike, the bowling game, and we got Commando. I restored that. Stargate. I got a lot more that's in here that you can't see in the film because obviously it's confining to one area, but it's a cool thing because in the house I have all the one-ups and the legend, and then out here I have a bunch of the full size. And then at my shop, I have more than what you're looking at here. Then I have 2 storage units. Like I have a shed at my shop, and then I have another room in the back that's just other arcades that are either things that I'm going to restore. It's a huge addiction. You guys think that it's bad with the one-ups. Imagine traveling all over the place and buying games for more than these cabinets cost that don't even work.
Yeah.
It's insane. So the price range is crazy. I mean, I have a crossbow that has a multi-board. That's a $3,000 cabinet all day long.
Yep.
Well, it's also timing. I mean, like your Asteroid Deluxe there in 84, 85, you could have got that for $100, or they could have said, just take it. It's all timing.
It is. I've met up with a lot of great guys in this community, and I got a great deal on a lot of these cabinets. I used to put posts out on Facebook before arcades were quite as crazy as they are now. Hey, anybody looking to get rid of something that's not working, but you got to be able to work on it, fix it. You got to have the equipment. I have an enclosed trailer. You got to have the manpower to be able to even go get it if you can get it. Let's say you can get it and you live in a city and you have a car. What are you going to do with it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to have the equipment to even go pick it up, let alone work on it or pull it into a house. If you live in an apartment, you're not going to pull up this huge game into steps, and it would just be impossible. That's what's great about the one-up. It allows so many more people to have it. Anybody in any room anywhere can fit it. You could just walk it right up the steps.
Yep.
So I don't have anything against any of them. I think everything is it's done a lot of great things for the community, because there's a lot of diehard collectors that look at the one-ups and they look down on them. But I don't.
Sure.
I think I don't think it ever hurt the industry at all, in my opinion. I think that it has helped. It has introduced a lot of people that either are new into it or that never could have one. They might have been afraid to either invest or didn't have because it's a lot of work to repair and keep them old games running. You know what I mean? It's not as simple as what this is.
You're right, and these things come and go. I mean, when the gaming consoles, home consoles came out, people hated them, saying you're taking away from the arcade industry. Who's going to want to go out and play those machines? You could just play them crappy at home with these kind of graphics on it. It just depends on perspective and what you want. I agree with you. I think that there's diehard people, and you're never going to please a diehard person unless they have the pure original thing, whether it be an arcade, a car, anything. You can't compare.
They're true collectors, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I mean, but there's a place for everything, and I don't think that one should down talk the other one. Like, it's a game, guys. Like, chill out. It's not gonna.
It's a matter of perspective.
Just relax. If you're a true diehard gamer, I don't care if you love Xbox or PlayStation. I have them all. Just have them all, and then you kill the conversations.
That's right. Well, guess what?
Or have like Glenn, have 5 of them all.
I do, but something you just said there, I just realized something. Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, the 3 guys out there. It's not like it used to be. Back then, you were an Atari person or an Intellivision person. You were a Nintendo person or you were a Sega person. You were a Pong person or you were a Pong person. It's not the same thing with Xbox and PlayStation. You have an Xbox? What do you got? Xbox? Okay, I got a PlayStation. Okay. What do you have? Nintendo? Okay. It's not like it used to be back then.
No.
So I told him I would hang on for a little bit. He's back home. He's on the call. We've got Angel with us.
Guys.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
How you feeling? How you feeling?
Actually, I'm not that bad. I mean, they sent me home with a PICC line, so I got to take antibiotics once a day. If anybody know what that is.
Well, I have a water pick.
Well, a PICC line is like an IV that goes in through either your left or your right arm, and it goes directly to the heart.
Oh, gotcha.
Because
it's not like a picket line. Like you cross it, they hit you and call you like a scab.
But it was put in because they found an infection that went from the leg to the heart, so they need the antibiotics to go direct. But it's not a bad thing. It's a 1 hour treatment, so it's not that bad. I got a little ammonia, but I'm not dying yet.
That's good.
So you can do that. You can do that treatment now at your house. You're saying?
Yeah, you can actually go home.
You
can actually go home and actually do they show you how to do the antibiotics, as long as you keep everything clean and sterile. It's not even a bag anymore. It's it looks like a water bomb, like a little video game water bomb, and it literally shrinks itself until it's completely done.
Wow.
It usually takes like an hour and a half, which isn't that bad.
Huh.
Well, good. I'm glad they're getting taken care of.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
You're
good.
on the mend.
Yeah. Listen, Sabos, I haven't brought any of your product, but I think your at games kit is gonna be my first item because I like a lot of the stuff you have on your website. I just couldn't figure out what I really wanted to do, but I think your at games kit is gonna be one of my first because that's like the only thing I have not put a vinyl set on it. And I think I want to do that with
Which one were you thinking? The Tron?
I have the well, I have the Sam's Club version, so I don't know if you need to know that.
Well, yeah, when you if you place the order on my site, it gives you the option if it's a Walmart or a Sam's version because there's a significant difference. But it just tells me right there in your order so that I know which one to deal with. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do the Tron. I have to double check on everything there, but I'll leave the Tron to Glenn. Let him get that.
I got more coming, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, I really love. Listening to you talk today. I really gained a lot of respect for you because I like the fact that you're doing this, because you love doing it. And it's not about the money, and that's what I try to tell a lot of people. A lot of this stuff is not about the money. This is not always a bread and butter type of thing. This is more of a let's help the community.
Yeah, it's a passion. I mean, you got to like what you do. And to me, as many hours and stuff that I put in on a week and a day, I do it because I love doing it. I feel like half the time I'm not even really working. And I still come home if I have a reasonable time and still come into my game room. But it's got to be a little bit crazier now where I usually can only come into my game room on the weekends. And I'm okay with that. But Sunday is my day. I try to not get out of my pajamas. Don't laugh. I stay in my pajamas and I come into my game room if I can, if there's not other things. And I just enjoy my game room on a weekend. That's my deal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these customers are very passionate about what they want, and they don't understand that if we put 24 hours a day, 7 days a week into it, we don't have time for ourselves to do what we want to do and enjoy what we have. And I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, you have a family. You have a family. You want to spend time with your family in the summer months. We like to go camping, so you want to do different things. You don't want to get burned out either. That's a mistake that a lot of guys do. I'm sure even in the YouTube, you always see videos about getting YouTube burnout. So you're passionate and you can see in somebody's video when they start to lose, they start slipping, they start slacking off, and it's just, you can see the passion is gone. And I don't ever want that to happen because then it becomes a job. Then it's a job.
Then you start hating what you're doing. Yeah. When you start hating what you're doing, you don't want to do it no more.
No. So you gotta enjoy what you do, or you're not gonna put that level of passion into it anymore. So that's what it takes.
And the quality comes out like you don't care and you don't want to do that.
Definitely. No. And that's what would happen if I started getting all kind of people helping me and all things. Then that means, like, people have said it to me so many times. Why don't you get help? Why don't you just hire more people? Well, first of all, how would you pay all these people? And second of all, the level is never going to be like, unless they're coming to the table with 30 years that I've had in the industry and constantly being able to improvise and come up with solutions and fixing and figuring out. It's a constant, like, I never try to do anything twice the same way. You got to constantly be innovative and improve. Nothing, and to me, nothing is good enough ever. And my wife gets a little crazy about that. She's like, you're never satisfied. I'm never going to be satisfied because there's always room to improve every aspect in your life. I think that if you live that way to a point, it'll only make you better all the time, regardless of this industry or any industry. Just as a person, you should always strive to improve yourself. So I carry that into my business. And I feel like if everyone did that, then everyone would be a lot more successful.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally do. And I appreciate you being on the show. I really do. It helps me, get to meet some of the people that are just not behind, the Facebook and the messages. It's good to see the people in person. And I thank Glenn for doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I mean, you got to think about, we all have this huge commonality of the passion of video games. And you know, nobody that's on this show or watching is rich and like rolling around in money, because they're not going to be into this. So we're all doing it because we love it.
Our childhood is it's reliving our childhood. That's the best part.
It is. I mean, I literally don't want to grow up from when I was 10. I mean, I was born in 1971. It was cool is I got like that Space Invaders back there. I remember playing that when I was with my parents when I was 10 years old in the campground playing that. You know what I mean? I remember when first game I ever had was Pong. So to be able to see Pong to PS5 coming out and everything in between, arcades and one-ups and full size and consoles, it's just such a cool thing to be a part of, to see all the genres, all the different years, all the different platforms that have been, you know, throughout the time frame that we've been around. People, the younger generation doesn't respect the games quite as much because they don't know what it was back. You know what I mean? They expect, like, if you throw a 360 game into a kid now, they're like, that graphics look like crap. I could throw a 360 game in there now, and I'm like, man, that still looks amazing to me. It's just unbelievable how good that still looks.
Joe Sabo for president.
On a switch here, Doug, how was Florida?
Oh, it was fantastic. Got out just in time. It sounded like, you know.
Yeah.
He wasn't in Florida. He never went to Florida.
Plan their vacation. Yeah.
They closed down. They're closing it down Sunday, and Universal.
Yeah.
Did you go into an arcade over there?
I didn't get to go to one off because we were staying on the park.
But in the park, don't they have any like in there? Or are they all more kind of like the redemption games?
I didn't see any even like redemption games.
Really?
Yeah,
wow,
it's
I'm
kind of
surprised.
But I did get to ride all the rides and see and do all the things I wanted to, so it was a worthwhile trip. So I enjoyed my time down there.
I was following you on YouTube. How was that lightsaber thing? I think that was amazing when I saw you do that.
Yeah, it was great. It was every bit I had hoped for. I thought it was good value. It was like a whole 20-minute ceremony, so you feel like, you know, you're not just getting rushed in and out, and you feel like you get some actual one-on-one time with the people. And you know, there's something to be said about, you know, making your own as opposed to just buying something off the shelf. You get that truly unique one-off experience, because if it sucks or if it looks ugly, that's by your hands, so you got to live with it.
Yeah, did they have like lightsabers broken down between like Jedi versus Sith? Was it
they had
like that?
Like 4 different themes, so to speak. So 4 different styles, you know, Jedi, Sith, or whatever. And then in between those 4 themes, you also had different, you know, hilts and bottoms and middles, and you know, so you could even customize it further there. And then you had color choices, so you could go red, violet, blue, green. So you could really go quite a ways. And if you like later on decide, hey, maybe I wanted a red one, they were selling in the gift shop different colored kyber crystals that you could throw in the lightsaber and change the color that way. So
really,
you don't have to have,
so
you don't have to have like buyer's remorse. You're like, oh, I spent $200 and no, I want a red one. So you don't have to spend the whole $200. You can spend the $15 and buy the crystal.
Well, yeah. What was the price on the saber? What was the price on the saber?
When it's all said and done after tax, it's like $212.
That's not horrible. That's not horrible.
No, like I said, it's all metal. It actually comes with batteries, which I was honestly surprised.
And it's making sounds and all that too, right?
Yeah, it makes sounds. It lights up. It makes noises when you swing it.
Does it cut stuff? Can you cut something with it?
It makes julienne fries.
Yeah, you might be able to cut a loaf of bread, but that's about it.
We need to make a controller out of that, Glenn. Come on.
Yeah,
we can't. You know, there's a guy on YouTube. I can't think of the name of him right now, but he actually made a working lightsaber. It's with plasma, but he was cutting through all kinds of stuff with that thing.
You got to just play Beat Saber. That is such a fun game. God, I love that game.
It's dangerous too.
The VR,
especially if anyone's around you.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun.
Out.
Yeah, you'll take a lampshade out real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, I have
a designated area for that.
I sent Doug this picture. I don't know if you got it, Doug, but a buddy of mine sent this to me while we're doing this. He's watching this at the same time. This is WWE SmackDown tonight.
I know. I was so.
Do you notice anything about this that looks kind of odd?
Yeah, there's no crowd because they're doing it they're doing it at the Performance Center. It was supposed to be in like Detroit tonight, and then they canceled it and
There's
moved it to the Performance Center.
nobody there. This is I can't imagine even this is all performance based, right? I mean, we all know it's scripted, but how do you get into something like that?
But you feed off of the crowd.
Yes,
exactly.
Like just like when they were still gonna have the basketball games, and like they're feeding off of the crowd. It's like a comedy just talking to an empty room. Like
exactly.
You need to hear the response of people.
It's
to
ridiculous.
Say, oh, that's funny. Let me keep
they
going.
Should have had the wrestlers. The wrestlers should play WrestleFest. The basketball players should be NBA Jam, Hang Time. That would be better. Just watching that on TV.
I mean, this is real.
I thought that was a video game screenshot. I thought it was like it does.
Yeah, he sent it over to me.
They scrapped that and threw that together in like the last 48 hours. So like obviously they're just winging it and hoping for the best. But I mean they're talking like WrestleMania.
So are they gonna have like fake sound effect crowds in the background?
Well, they canceled they were supposed to be at the Cavelli Center Sunday night. I was debating going because it's like 15-20 minutes away from me, and they were going to do it's the road to WrestleMania, so it's usually good, but they canceled it. We were also supposed to do a I was supposed to be Spider-Man at a con this end of this March here. They canceled it. Everything. I mean, everything's like
a press guest at Planet Comic Con next week, and I was supposed to meet one of my childhood idols, Ralph Macchio, and the Karate Kid cast and everything, and I was super excited.
Oh wow!
And then the Kansas City mayor said no gatherings over
100 people,
a couple hundred people, so they canceled the convention. Said we'll try to move it to the fall, but you know how scheduling celebrities and things like that. Yep. It's a good chance none of those guys are going to be available.
This is reality hitting now. Like
it is. It really is.
This is our life.
So many things that everybody takes, we all take for granted is gone.
Like toilet paper.
I mean, just human interaction. I mean, just human interaction.
I saw a picture of the guy who went to an escalator. He pulled his pants down. He had an escalator like at the mall and just bent over and let the belt do its thing.
Well, I will say this. I'm going to say this, that when we were growing up as kids, there was, I think, a lot more interaction. Today, there's a lot of interaction like this. So I think even at home, people will be okay just doing that.
Yeah, imagine if power went out. Holy crap.
Man. Oh, yeah. Now that's a different story. That's a different story.
I mean,
that's why
people would be done.
I went to Harbor Freight and bought myself a 100-watt solar panel kit just so I keep my cell phone charged. There's an emergency.
That's
1,000 gigawatt.
That will take you back to the 1800s.
Gigawatts.
If you get rid of that and no power and no interaction, you can't go anywhere, everything's closed. That's like instant Stone Age.
Well, the hype would die out because then no one could talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like wondering, is there like these Amish people that are just out in the garden just working? They're like, what is going on? Like, I don't see as many. Like, they have no concept of what's happening. Zero. Or if you lived in the middle of the mountains somewhere and you have just this cabin. I mean, they have no clue that this thing's even going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have Amish near us. We do. I'm sure they know what's going on because they get rides to Walmart and they stand there and watch the TV there, which is kind of funny. They won't have electricity and TVs in their house, but they'll stand at Walmart.
Them young people are like, oh man, look at that video game in there. I want that. I want that one up.
Well, I think aren't the Amish kids okay to do that up until like 18, and then they have to make the choice of whether they're going to stay with it?
Yeah,
or not.
Like 2-week thing off. It's called Rumspringa, where they're allowed to like go live in the real world and decide whether they want to come back. But it's Rumspringa. They give them a couple weeks, I think it is, to go away and do their own thing. Yeah.
Father, I must do the Rumspringa.
And then
I'll tell you what, though, you take like at our local flea market, you get those young kids. They're in there dedicated. The work ethic is unlike anyone else. You got to say they work for what they do. They have hard working.
And quality stuff.
You could have a 10-year-old running the register and like could run the store at 10.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Not my 14-year-old.
Well,
take what you want. It's okay.
I think somebody said if the power went out, that's when the looting starts.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
that's not going to happen here. That's just not. They'll be cleaning bodies off the front yard.
Walking Dead at that point.
Yeah, they can go
to
to stores.
Transportation and things like that, people devolve really quickly.
Oh yeah, it does. I've always said if you get lost electricity and a food problem and water, instant within hours it would be complete pandemonium.
But I think if people would just like we were talking about it too, like if neighbors said, "Hey, I'm out of this," toilet paper even. Hey, we would help them. I think even they would do the same thing. I'm an avid hunter. I would go out and start. I mean, I get deer in my backyard.
You're an avid hunter?
Them.
Oh man.
Yeah, man.
I'm a huge hunter, dude.
I bow
Big
hunt
time, my whole life.
I bow hunt.
I play a deer hunter. On
TV. Glenn's.
One of my other businesses that this is the first year that I gave up is I was a taxidermist for many years.
Oh, get out!
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I used to compete in world competitions and state, national, and world level for whitetail. Yeah.
Good. I don't feel so bad because everybody's like, "Wait, you hunt and fish,
Just
and you're
search
doing this stuff?"
Sabo taxidermy, and you'll see some of the work that I've done.
Yeah, but Steve, you hunt and you eat what you hunt.
Oh, absolutely. I live on property. I mean, I feed the deer.
I have a big
raise
freezer
the deer.
full of venison right now. So
I mean,
a lot of deer meat.
I have no problem with that at all.
Well, we were saying hunting season's over until the fall, but I said if that would happen, stores would close down.
Oh, it's open again.
I'm going out there and and she goes, well, what about the neighbors? I'm like, I'd give them too. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean?
One deer is a lot of meat.
They're not gonna say nothing. You're feeding the neighbors. They're not gonna care if you're going out there out of season.
You're not feeding them neighbors. You're feeding them venison, I assume.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're feeding the neighbors. You're feeding the neighbors.
Okay, just want to be clear about that.
But I think that would.
Can't have a witness.
I mean, that's
fishing, hunting, all that good stuff.
You got to live. You got to learn how to do that stuff. I teach my kids how to do it. You live off the land. If something like this happens,
I got a buddy of mine. He is my butcher and they own a farm, and they are completely self-contained. They do everything. The only thing they probably buy is like toothpaste and soap, but everything from their eggs to their meat to their milk to everything they do all at their own farm. It's amazing. They even heat their house with this huge boiler, like this wood stove that's out in a shed that you could literally throw a whole tree in. Then the water lines go under the ground, and then it's radiated with like floor, heat all throughout the house.
Radiant heating.
Through the fireplace running through the water lines. It's amazing. Completely self-contained. They got solar panels, or a lot of places I've been into, remote areas, they don't even have electricity. They just use either lanterns or whatever. I was at this one cabin where they have a bucket really high up in a tree, and that's giving you your water pressure. Imagine going up there, filling that up. It's got like on a winch. So you pull the water, let's say it's 5 or 10 gallons up there, and it's maybe 15, 20 feet up. And the higher it is, the more water pressure is, because the gravity is giving you the water pressure throughout the house. Imagine living like that.
I mean,
well, we might be.
Well, I don't think it'll be that. Like Doug said, it'd have to be the plague. Something would have to go through. I mean, this isn't gonna cripple it like that.
Well, if we don't get our burger times, our TurboGrafx minis, it might just well be the plague.
People might riot. You're right. Well,
that's right.
People have rioted in those message boards. We've seen it.
Doug,
Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat! The kids are riding down the streets for it, so you never know.
Doug, I've already looking for a backup because of the TurboGrafx Mini. I've been going to every store that I could try to find an actual TurboGrafx 16 because, again, Glenn corrupted me and told me how I can, play some games.
Put a disc in it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. So now he's got me on the hunt for that.
Well, you got the Saturn.
Hey, I'm going
to Genesis.
I'm going tomorrow.
Now you got to find yourself a fair channel F. You got to find a Magnavox Odyssey 2 and 1. You got to find an Atari 7800, 5200, Jaguar, XE game system. 400.
Jaguar. I would do a Jaguar, but I don't know about Atari 7800.
That's one system I never had. Is the Jaguar. It's cool though, but I never had one.
It's a machine, had a lot of potential. Did have a couple of good games, had a lot of stinker games. Not going to lie, did have a lot of stinker games. But the problem was, it was just Atari more or less making the games. If you had someone like Konami coming in with other companies, the hardware was very powerful. I would say it was probably close to a PS1, but I don't think quite as powerful as a PS1. But is what it is.
Like most people, though, there was a time in my life where I got out of, like, I was into games younger, but then you come into your early adulthood and you're dating or you're it just
your
things
priorities change.
you just lose interest.
I get it. I wasn't dating, so I was still at the games, Joe. I get it. You just had to say it that way.
I sold mine when I had to buy college books. I sold mine.
Yo, they're criminals. They're the criminals.
Yeah.
You buy a book for like $200. They buy it back for like $5.
Wait,
the guy behind you says, I want to buy
how
this
much?
book.
$200? Yeah, try like $400 or $500 for
well,
some
there you
books.
go. But the thing is, it was probably a used damn book. They bought it back for like $3.
Yeah,
that's GameStop. Just like GameStop.
Yeah, just like GameStop.
Yeah. I bought an N64 because I saw Turok in like Babbage's or GameStop back
Babbage's. I remember
when I was in a mall. And I seen that Turok with the arrow sticking in there and the lizard. I'm like, oh my god, that game! And then Doom 64, it was amazing. That's when I started getting back into it again.
I'll tell you what's on my list for tomorrow if I can get a complete or at least a decent one is the Sega Master System. That's one I do want to get. I mean, I like Alex Kidd. I thought that was a good game, but just to kind of start there.
The Sega Master System 3D Sega Scope. That's the one you
try to get a bundle on eBay. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a local guy. It's like a hole in the wall type store, but he was messaging me on Facebook.
Hey, whatever.
He's like, you got to come into my store. He said, I just opened a couple months ago. He's like, I saw your setup and everything. He says, you got to come check out my stuff. I'm like, all right. I said, are you open Saturday? He said, yeah, 11 to 5. I said, all right, I'll come down. He said, the virus isn't going to scare you away. I'm like, no, I'm going to come down. He's like, okay. So I'm hoping he has some cool stuff.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
That reminds me, I was supposed to call a customer today. I just finished up another one-up. I just finished another one-up, what is it? The Stranger Things cabinet today that the customer is supposed to come tomorrow and pick it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to wrap anyways. I wanted to hold on because Angel calls in every week and he wanted to talk to you.
That.
So
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
No worries, man.
I was out and about getting dinner with the family. I hadn't drove my car in almost a week.
Well,
I was in the
what's funny,
the hospital for like a week.
Angel, when you called in, we could hear you, but you couldn't hear us. So when you go back on the recording,
you were playing with the phone, and
we were making fun of you. We were going like this to this because you were doing this to us, so we were doing that to you.
I gotta look at that.
You'll have to go back and watch it. Any parting words for us, Angel, going forward, and then we'll go right down the line.
Just letting everybody know I'll be back in action on Monday. I know I appreciate everybody who waited this long. I've gotten nothing but love and prayers on the Facebook. Joe, thank you for. I'm glad I met you. I'm definitely gonna order that one. I think I'm gonna do the Punisher. I was looking at the Punisher one. I think.
Good show. I appreciate that. And good luck. I hope you feel better, man. My best wishes to you and your family. Everybody stay safe this weekend,
Yep.
Definitely.
Stay indoors.
Don't go to the grocery store.
Oh no, I'm going out. I'm not sitting around. I'm not going to be. Yeah.
I'm going hunting. I'm booking up now. I'm going to have 3 freezers full.
There you go, man. I'm serious, man. I'm gonna go out, see what's outside.
We gotta try this deer meat. I gotta see what this deer is.
I'm telling you, my guy makes the meat. I guarantee you, if I gave you some of this stuff and I didn't tell you what it is, you'd never, ever know
it was venison.
Most people are just more afraid of what it could be, or they're just ignorant to what actually it is. Yeah,
I process my own stuff. I have the grinder. I have the stuffer. I process my own stuff. Make my own jerky.
I've seen South Park, and I've seen Cartman pissed off, and I've seen him grind up herring and feed them to the kids.
Scott Penniman, yep.
Well, my wife will tell you.
What's that one movie when the guy's cutting the hair upstairs, and then he cuts them up, and the lady's making the patties downstairs? Oh my God, what is that called? Sweeney.
Sweeney Todd.
I can't. What is it?
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. You ever see that movie?
Oh yeah.
They had the best.
No.
Everyone wanted to have their little patties or whatever, and it was human people. So the guy was a barber upstairs. He cut them up. It went downstairs. He had a trap door, and the whole body went down. And the lady was down there cooking them up. And they were serving them to everybody in the town.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
That's brutal.
I don't
Didn't know
know.
the name, but I know the movie.
I think Deer.
Yeah, that was it.
Sweeney Todd, the
Sweeney
Demon
Todd,
Barber of Fleet Street, I think is the whole name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for everything. I appreciate you guys holding on.
All right, man.
Good to see you, Angel.
All right, man.
We'll,
buddy.
we'll see you.
All right,
All right,
take
Joe.
it easy, guys.
Anything you want to leave? Parting words for anybody out there, Joe?
I appreciate everyone listening, and I hope that I clarified any unanswered questions in the past. I'm looking forward to many new projects and customers and just the whole industry in general. And I'm still as passionate about this from when I was 8 years old. So everybody stay safe, and I appreciate you having me on. Until next time, guys, see you then.
All right, man.
Game on, Joe.
Let's see here. Any parting words do you have, Glenn, Doug?
No, just there was another good episode. Glad Joe came on. Very informative. And, I'm glad that Doug admitted he went to China and not Florida to do what he did. He admitted my information was correct, like I said.
Oh, my.
That's funny.
Doug, rebuttal?
You got to use those frequent flyer miles when you get it. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm a skeptic. I wanted to see this coronavirus, this Wuhan flu.
Was it even a thing when you first went? Like how? It's been a week, so it was nowhere near at the level now.
Like 7 days is ridiculous. Like because
in
Disney World, I couldn't even tell you if I saw a hand sanitizer station anywhere. Like maybe one, and then 7 days later they're closing down the park. So I mean, it's just
but it was packed, right? It was busy, right?
Oh, it's always packed.
Yeah, there's no slow season anymore. Every time you go, it's going to be busy no matter what. But yeah, to see just how quickly this has evolved, and like I said, the last week has just been tremendous. But I'm glad to be home. I'm glad I got to see and do that before all this craziness. Glad to be back on the show. It sucked missing 2 weeks, but had to go see Disney World, and luckily it sounded like it was perfect timing for me. So just glad to be back in the saddle. Glad Joe came on the show. I'm glad he got to educate everybody on his products, and I'm super anxious to spend my weekend putting my cabinet together, my custom artwork that I got from Joe for my Legends Ultimate. So really looking forward to recording and doing that whole process and just checking that box off, because I know it's going to look great when it's done.
What he's saying, Joe, is
what Doug said.
Keep your phone on tomorrow because he's going to be calling you.
No problem. I'll be right here waiting, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Any questions you got, you let me know.
Guys, we'll see you next week for more of the Retro Buzz. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you go subscribe to everything. You guys know the drill. We're not going to bore you with that, but we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody.